Hey, Ron.
Hello?
Yeah. Hey, hold on a second. Now I'm just finishing my lunch, so let me finish chewing here. Setting up the everything. Do you have access to the internet? Are you on the computer?
Yes.
Okay. Do me a favor and let's pull this up before we start. Pull up Freedoms with an S, Freedoms Phoenix, spelled out PHOENIX.com.
Phoenix?
Yeah, Freedoms Phoenix.
Now, is it Freedom first or Phoenix?
Freedom with an S, Freedoms, and then Phoenix spelled out.com.
Okay.
Now you should see at the top there, you'll see our show that we just did.
Yeah, I did something wrong here.
Just spell freedom and then an S.
Oh, Freedoms with an S. That's what I didn't do. Okay.
Okay, then you'll see the website comes up and it has different stories, and you'll see our two shows up there. You got it? Are we waiting for it to load or something?
I'm waiting for it to come up.
Are you broadband or dial-up?
No, I'm broadband. Well, what the heck?
I'm going to email you the links.
Well, for some reason it isn't coming up.
Okay, what's your email?
DRITEC, excuse me, RG at hotmail.com.
All right, I sent you the two links. Let me know when you got your email.
Okay, hang on a second. Okay, my email's up, but I don't see your email yet.
All right. The reason is we're going to be doing one of the things that question we have, or we can help you with the book and everything, is do you have your book in an electronic format?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, how do you want to do this? We can do it in a lot of different ways. I can do it, create an account, do an account, promote it. The thing is that, you may not want, me endorsing you. We may not, or want you endorsing us or whatever. It depends on, we're crazy freaking anarchist libertarians of you're still voting. I mean, that kind of thing. And you could be, neo-Nazi Ku Klux Klan preschool for your grandchildren or something for all I know. So, so our point is that, for me, it doesn't matter. I just want the information to get out there on the patenting of the land titles and so on. But so we'll talk about that when we get towards the end. But we need the electronic format of this to put it in, and it needs to be formatted, edited. I mean, Davi can do it, but it's not like just a push button thing. It's a thing, But we can do it under our deal and have it revenue split, or you do it and manage. But then if you do it and you don't know how to manage it, it's going to be a pain in the ass. So how do you want to do it?
Well, I don't know. What kind of a split are we talking about?
I have no idea. Well, how much are you selling these books for? You're saying $40-something, or can they do a ebook? Can they download it to their Kindle? Do you want to only be available? You can even do an audio book, but somebody have to record it. But did you want them just to buy the actual physical hard copy, or do you care if they read it on their tablets? I mean, what's your goal here?
Well, I would rather get the book out is what my preference is.
Okay, well, that's mine. So when you do this and set this up, Davi, can you make it to where it's a no, do that one. Can you make it to where it can be an audio? I mean, a ebook too.
Yeah, I mean, the Amazon's publishing module does that kind of automatically if you want to, because it's just the PDF.
Okay, so yes, if your goal, see, I'm not I don't want to make money. I just want to, for all the effort and managing all that BS is to, compensate Davi here. So it would be, I don't know. I mean, it's how much are you going to sell it for, the ebook? I tell you what, we get nothing from the books. And what do ebooks usually go for, Dav? Like $3-4 or something.
I mean, it's literally anything. You set the price yourself. Like, I suppose people do like 99-cent, $1.99 ebooks when they're promoting, but then they also like you can set an ebook at the same price as the book if you want. Like, this is like something that I've done for myself for my own novelty books. This isn't like I'm a publishing house that I've worked with other authors. So
yeah, no, we're just doing this. He's doing it as a favor to me to help, and I just want to get, because I want to, like you, I want this information out. It was hard enough to find you, and to have somebody even knows anything about this. The problem is that I want to get it out, and if you're not, see, this is the problem I run into with a lot of people, especially if they're some alternative energy thing or they got something to say about, they always want to get filthy stinking rich, and their goal is not to get the information out. Their goal is to become wealthy from it. And I go, they never get wealthy from it because they're so worried about that, they never get it out, and nobody cares, So I think this is going to go more than you think. But I just want to make sure it gets done. So if we do, what's Amazon's cut on an ebook?
It's I think it's essentially whatever the print cost is, and so
no, on the ebook.
Oh, on an ebook, I don't know. I didn't do mine as ebooks because I like physical books, but I just know that that's an option for the thing that they do.
And I want because if you don't mind, because when you get a PDF from an ebook, they could just copy it and send it out or something, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
You can just share it.
Well, are you concerned about, oh my God, somebody shared this book and I didn't get a cut?
Well, I've already had that happen. I've had people that bought the book and they took it down to Kinko's or whatever the name of it. Excuse me. And they whacked off a couple hundred of them and sold them and I never saw or heard a thing about it until after the fact.
Now,
I asked the guy where he got the book. Oh, such and such sold it to me.
Yeah. So this is
bought a book.
Well, see, this is already happening. If it's hard to get, that's why they did it, you know? So if you make it, you know, less expensive than going making copies and, you know, and you got it readily available to them, they're not doing that because it's more inconvenient for them to do that and just buy your book. You see my point? So what we'll do, with your permission, okay? Well, we'll talk about it on air because I want to make a thing out of this. And we already got the stream going, so let's go ahead and I'm going to bring in the music and we'll start the recording. All right. So hold on a second. Here we go. All right, hold on.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Undefeated, and declare your independence. And me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms of the Nest, freedomsphoenix.com. All right. .com. All right, this is what we're going to do. Ron Gibson was on the live show on the network this morning, and we are not done. And you got commercial interruptions all the time. I don't want to deal with that. So what we're going to do, and I find out that he has the book. And he has the presentation, the class, and so on. He wants to get the information out. Oh, it wasn't started?
Recording wasn't.
Well, did you have it on before?
No, I didn't touch it. I had it set up for you.
Oh, I thought I clicked it. All right, we're going to do it again because the recording, you know, we had the wrong button, okay? We're going to start again. Here we go.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Declare your independence. Me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms of the Nest, freedomsphoenix.com. Ron Gibson on the live show this morning, and it wasn't enough time. Plus, you got commercial interruptions. We want to get this through. Now, as a promotional, March 1st, is a gathering in Kingman where he's given a class. It's $150. $150. So this, I'm trying to make it worth it. I don't have to pay the $150. We'll work it out. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to promote. Because this is the answer to a question that I've been asking the audience for. And, of course, one of my listeners from San Diego goes, well, it's in Arizona. You got this thing in Kingman, man. You know, it's presented by Ron Gibson, $150. Now, I got you go into the archive here. It is January 21st, 2020, and we have today's archive up there. You go in, and it has all the information, all the links, everything, except, now it does have where you can order the book. Donna's made it. Yep, here's the address. You can send, you can do, you can email, you can, we got it right here. Here you go. Go ahead and say, hey, hello, I wish to have my book. All right, it's DRITECRG@hotmail.com. DRITECRG@hotmail.com. You can contact him that way. Or it has his address up here in Medford, Oregon. Now, this event in Kingman on March 1st, I want to try and make sure I get there because I want to get the full presentation, and a lot of people have been asking about this issue. The problem is that everybody's talking about it. You can find some little, but nobody will walk you straight through. And the one thing that I found of great interest when I went to the web page, Ron Gibson, and I go look, and he says, here's the 6 steps. I'll tell you what it is right here. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Peace out. Rock on. Yeah, but well, then you need the book. So, I'm like, okay, so we're going to get the book. Now, the book, we're talking, Davi and I are trying to help out Ron here because this information, I think, and from my opinion, if it pleases the crown, may I occupy my own land. Well, who says it's yours? I got a special little deed if we took that away from you, and it ain't really yours unless you know how to fill out the right paperwork or something. Well, I'm not about process. I hate that. It's a process. If you beg for your rights in the right way kind of thing, But if I can get access to it's mine, you can't take it, you can't limit how I use it, and you can't tax it, well, then I feel I'm like a little free, and I got to fill out a form or two, okay, whatever. And then if all of a sudden they say, nah, we don't want you doing that anymore, which is, could be as likely. So we're going to talk about that. But this information is in a book. Now, this book was created how long ago, Ron?
About 5 years ago, a little over. Pardon me.
Okay, so it's like, 2015, 16, around in there?
Yeah, so 2014, if I remember correctly.
Okay, 2014, so we're at least 5 years ago. You have the book. Now, it's, we're older guys, man. How exactly hip we got to be in, cyber or whatever the heck. That's what, the 13-year-old grandkids are for. So what we do is we have done this and gone through the process and all that big steep learning curve of, because Davi publishes his own books on there, and we've done our pirateswithoutborders.com book, the Letters of Captain Mark, all that. So we know the process. If you know it, and which Davi does, we can take the electronic version of your book, put it on there, that then you can order on Amazon. You push a button and they print it. It's printed. You can order them onesies at a time. You get your cut. They get their book. Boom. Done. Now, if you want to also allow it to be in ebook format that they can download it as a PDF and read, boom. That's all over. I am of the opinion that this information is not readily available or more people would do it. Now, I was talking to Ron before we started the recording, and he said, that's already been freaking, pirated. Some guy took the PDF, went down to Kinko's and printed up a couple hundred copies, and I got guys coming to my seminars and everything, they got the book. Now, this is kind of my point when we, pirate DVDs and stuff like this. They'll have some document, I go, that pirated it. Well, you can't. I go, yep, sue me, whatever. And what they find out very quickly is that all of a sudden, it's ordered more. They're making more money. They go to their seminars. There's a lot of people, oh my God, because they got a free book. So I do not see in information like this of the advantage not going to Ron for making this information available as much as possible. However, if you make it more convenient and cheaper than them do it, they go to you. I give you iTunes. iTunes comes out and they said, yeah, you can have whatever you want. It's 49 cents introductory or 99 cents a song or, whatever it is. And they go, yeah, I could pirate it, but I have to go, for $10, I get whatever I want here, push the button. And you make it convenient. People pay for convenience to the point that they give up their privacy. I mean, just make it convenient and you can have my DNA sample or whatever, So this is just how we're wired. So I want to make sure that this information gets out. And I think that's Ron's goal also. So what is your goal on this, Ron?
Well, mine is the same, is to get this out, because they're coming after our land. They're actually coming after our money, our rights, and our land. So this is a well-founded, well-rooted, however you want to define it, a fundamental right, a God-given right for us to own land. And very few people even know about it, let alone understand it. So to answer your question, I want to get it out there, and so that people will be kings of their land again. Right now, they're a slave.
Okay, now the hard copy, how many pages is it?
179 pages.
Okay, so it's not a big, giant book. All right, so 179 pages, and you're charging, what, $40 or something for this book?
Yeah, well, it's $40 for the book and $5 for the shipping.
Okay. Now, you might be able to, this is, if there's nobody else out there and it's up there, fine, $40 is, I've been looking for, we can set it for whatever you want. Now, if you don't have to do the shipping, you don't have to pay up front for the printing, you don't have to, the technology is such now, you go to Amazon and you click, all right, do this for me. Have the pages come up? Did you get the email of our sites or anything yet?
No, your email never came through.
Okay, don't worry about it. Go to Amazon.com. We'll just walk this through. I don't even know how the hell to find our book. Do you know what we call it, Dov?
It's Letters of Mark. The author is Mark DePlume.
Okay, go
it
to
should come up that way. You can also follow the link at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Okay, well, I couldn't get him to go to the site, though, so, whatever.
I can figure out how to get to my own dashboard. Hang on a second.
So go to, let me know if it comes up, Amazon.com.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Now go in there go Letters of Mark. You think that's what it is? Letters of Mark. M-A-R-Q-U-E. Let's see if that does it. There it is, second one. Okay. Second one? Who the hell's this other guy?
Is there another one on there?
The Letter of Mark, Aubrey, whatever it is.
It's a historical phrase. So, yeah, for me, it's the first thing that comes up.
All right.
Oh, where are you finding that? All I got is a whole bunch of sales stuff.
Okay, you put it up in the search thing. It says Letters of Mark, M-A-R-Q-U-E. And that's on Amazon's little search, bar at the top of Amazon.
Okay, it was Mark. What was the rest of it?
No, that's that. Letters of Mark, spelled M-A-R-Q-U-E. It's how you spell Mark.
Okay, but it's Letters is the first one?
Yeah, Letters of Mark.
Okay.
Okay. Now you'll see it looks like a pirate thing, a little pirate that says Letters of Mark. Do you see it?
Yeah, the shows a book of Andrew Watts. Book shows up. Am I in the right place?
Probably not. All right. So we'll go ahead and just assume the audience can find it. So you go Letters of Mark, and you have the book. Now, in there, you can make this an ebook, a paperback. We got $25, and on ours is what? 40 pages, something. It's not that big.
Yeah, that's about right.
So it's you can make it for whatever you want. Now, it doesn't cost you. Now them printing it is about our cost is go to Amazon to get what, $5 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's about $5.
Okay, so this is, if you're not having to pay to print it, you're not having to pay to store it, you're not having to whatever, and you got a big market out there, yeah, you can say 40, you might say 20, you probably make more money. I mean, I don't know. But I'd say you can start off at whatever you want, and then you can bring the price down later. So
Yeah, and it'll show you when you get into the dashboard and you start setting the price on things. It gives the publisher or the author a breakdown of exactly how much goes to Amazon and how much of the profit goes to you. So you can fluctuate those numbers individually.
Okay, so I just want to kind of give you an idea, and we can make it 40. I don't care. What is your books that you do? Are they hardbound or softbound?
No, it's a business card cover with a Mylar on the front and a business card thick back cover.
Okay, so it's kind of a paperback.
Yes.
Okay. So these are paperbacks, and they're nice, So I'm going, all right. Let's go ahead and we'll talk about this at the end of the show when we get done. We'll do. I just want you to know what we're talking about, and the buildup of this for the audience is to know that we're going to try and get this, because I am of the opinion, and this is going to be a neon flash, and I told you so, is that when we do this and promote a little bit, it's going to go stupid, in my opinion. Okay. I mean, we'll see. You never know. But I'm just like, if you make it easy and you got the information, because I guarantee I am not the only one looking for this. Now, how comprehensive do you think? How long have you been doing this? What? How many years?
Well, the books have only been out almost 6 years.
No, I mean your experience in doing these land patents.
11 years.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read the bio. We did it in the other show, but I want to make sure this gets in so you guys know who we're talking to here. And I apologize. We're setting it. It's podcast. We do what the heck we want. We only got commercial breaks, and we're going to get this set up because the audience, I want you guys to know, I'm an experienced activist. I've been doing a lot of, we didn't tell Ron before, but you're familiar with Ron Paul running for president and so on?
Yes.
The Ron Paul Lovolution, that logo, the reverse, revolution logo. I don't know if you saw the Lovolution, if you saw the Ron Paul Revolution logo, but a lot of the audience, maybe some of your people that are here listening to this, I'm the one that created that. So I saw the expansion, the explosion of spontaneous order for freedom-oriented, leave me aloneism by even teenagers. Okay, this was a philosophy of freedom and just freaking tell me the truth and what it is, and here we go, and whether they voted or not, they didn't care. The whole goal was how long could we keep him up on the podium so he can keep saying freedom. Now, freedom of access and protection by the proper role of government of individual rights, which is land. I need to know that this is my land. Now, the government says, you know what, we're going to go ahead and protect your property rights, but you're going to have to, file it with us, or you got the right paperwork or something. Well, what happens with the housing crisis, they went in and they said, all right, well, we want to foreclose and this guy didn't pay, and they go, you didn't even file the paperwork right. Hell, you didn't even file the paper. You just made it a number and called it this mortgage electronic recording system of you banking kind of, and then you want us to enforce your property rights, and you didn't pay us to have the who owned what. They'll screw you guys. Well, then they, fraudulently made a deal, the attorneys generals of all the states, and didn't they get away with everything? It's just so bad. So I need to go back because I'm not counting on the government to protect my property rights, especially when they want to take it. So I'm going, nope. I need to get to where I'm sure that this country, United States of America, started under the idea that you get to own property, and that when you get property, it is yours, not under condition, not under, if we say, not until we want it. And I'm going, when did that change? There is something, if it pleases the crown, may I occupy my own land. Now, when we got into the show, we kept getting interrupted with breaks and so on. I'm going to introduce Ron here real quick, his bio, and then I'm going to have him, when did that start? And he started to tell him, like, man, we need more time, so this is what we're going to do. Ron Gibson is a former U.S. Marine and Vietnam veteran who currently works as a professional consultant, counselor at law with over 47 years of experience on the subjects of land patents, mining law, right-of-way, contracts, water rights, and constitutional law. He was raised on a ranch in southern Oregon. Education in engineering and constitutional law. Having a cattle, ranching, and mineral background has helped him to tackle many of the issues facing rural America today. Ron has several gold and industrial mineral projects in the western U.S. He currently serves as vice president of the Southwest Oregon Mining Association and is chairman of the Jefferson Mining District located in southern Oregon. A licensed pilot, Ron has a helicopter business and is the inventor of 2 environmental cleanup products. Additionally, he is also involved in turbine engines, marine boat power plants, and turbine propulsion projects for helicopters and airplanes. His love of history and lifelong experience in cattle and horses has also served him well for his land, hay, alfalfa, and high-quality beef operations. In his spare time, Ron enjoys collectible auto restoration, raising quarter horses, and paint horses. Oh, I thought it was paint. Hell, I got a little printing problem here. It's paint horses. Okay. Flying and teaching classes on constitutional law, mining law, and land patents. Now, Ron, you got involved in this issue when and why?
Well, I come from a constitutional background because of my mother and my father. And in those years, it was taught in the 7th and 8th grade. It also was taught in my high school years. And I've always had a craving or a hunger to know more about it. You hear all the time, this is constitutionally protected. Our rights are constitutionally protected. And I wanted to know and understand what that really meant. I'm a very independent-oriented guy. I don't like people telling me what to do, and I don't get stupid about it either. But by the same token, God gave me a brain, and I'm created by the Creator, and I need to be creative as part of my destiny in life. And as I began to study constitutional law, I was drawn to it more and more and more. And I've never been a drinker. I don't chew. I don't go with the girls that do. But when everybody else is running to the bar, I'm studying. And I've been called an informational junkie. And I guess there's probably a lot of truth to that, simply because I'm hunger to this very day for pertinent information that gives me a better round so I can share with other people. I do 4 law classes a month, and I got people all the time, well, will you do another one over here? Or will you do a class over here? And I said, you get me enough people there to make it worthwhile. And I don't mean monetarily, but and they're doing that. And like I say, I teach 4 law classes a month now. And I was teaching at our local college for a while, for a year actually. And it just got to where the distance that I had to travel back and forth became kind of an issue. But that's the reason for years and years people said, Ron, you need to write a book as much as you know about this land patent stuff and water rights. And so I pulled out all of my stuff there. Well, I say all of my stuff, some of it, which just what I drew from to write the book was about 2 feet high of information that I had gathered and whatever. And my son walked by and he just shook his head and he kind of chuckled. And I asked him, I said, what are you laughing about? And he said, Dad, he said, with all of the stuff that you've got on this land law stuff, he said, the people who read this are going to be an informational overload in about 12 minutes. And we both chuckled about that. But everyone that, and I say everyone, the consensus is that most everyone that has read my book loves it. I got a couple of guys in Dallas, Texas that I have a radio program that I was on, And one of the two guys, after they asked if they could buy a couple of books, I said, I'll give you a couple of books. So I gave them a couple of books, and one of them spent over 2.5 weeks just pulling up every single case that I have in the book. And I mean, it's loaded with case law, so that people won't think that, well, this is just Ron's opinion. And he said, I didn't find a flaw in anything that you presented. So that kind of brings us up to today. And I did a land patent seminar last September 28th, I think it was, in Austin, Texas. And boy, ever since that, this thing has just exploded. And I'm really glad to see it, because women are interested. I'm really surprised, not so much shocked, but surprised about how many women want to be free on their land as well.
You know, my opinion on that, and I just want to echo this, is that I've been watching a lot over the last few years. You know, we have a stamp press that presses out EMT conduit to make geodesic domes. So our thing is that we've been having all kinds of fun with that and testing different things, and I'm going, wow, I could build a 5,000 square foot home for pretty cheap, heavily insulated. I'm sorry. Did you get a permission slip from the man to do that? Do you have the right, building codes or the permit of the kind of you're allowed of the United Nations of, what? Whoa, where'd that come from? Then you have this tiny house effort that's going on around. Where did that come from? Why are people wanting to live cheaply? Not because they don't want to be under a mortgage. They don't want to be financially strapped. They want to have some freedom. They want to have peace of mind. They want to be financially secure. They don't want to have a big mortgage that they owe the bank and interest payments of the economy goes. So this whole millennial kind of thing, or even retirees or something, they're looking, I just don't want the stress. I want to be able to just, and a friend of mine put it really well. He goes, the banks and everything, they've taken away all of our rest. You're not allowed to just sit, smoke your corn cob cannabis pipe or whatever on your front porch watching the sunset without somebody with a clipboard or there's a bleed of you owe me money. And I'm going, yeah, they're just taking away our rest. So I think that people are willing to have a smaller footprint, not because they're all environmental or whatever, because it allows them financial freedom. They know that they can, generate enough electricity, they can get enough water, they can, catch it, the rain, or they can compost, whatever, but they need a place. They need land to go and be unmolested and not have a $30,000 minimum job requirement you have to pay the government to even put a tent on your own land, while at the same time you're perfectly free to occupy the sidewalk in the city. And I'm going, what? You can occupy the sidewalk or the park or whatever, but if you take that same tent and you put it on your own land, it's illegal and you go to jail if you say no long enough. So I'm going, there is something fundamentally wrong that happened in this country. Now, you can make the argument that some municipality or inside the city limits, or we want, you have to have pink eaves on your whatever the hell, I don't care. But if I'm out in unincorporated in the county of the Middle America, certainly in the desert here in the Southwest, I'm in Arizona, and you're going to Kingman, you know exactly what I'm talking. Hell, Oregon's got a whole bunch of desert. So it's a high desert, but it's a desert. So I go like this, I say, when did that happen, Ron? When was it you think that you didn't buy land, that you just owned it? And then all of a sudden the government, nah, not so much. And then how did that happen county by county by county by county? It had to start somewhere. When did that start? How did that come about?
Well, you bring up a very, very profound question.
Yeah.
and let me back up just a little bit, because I need to explain more of the picture than just the punchline. And that is the fact that, and if you go to the internet and you look up the Act of 1871, you will see to where Congress unlawfully had no authority to do it, incorporated the District of Columbia, made it a federal district.
Okay, now I'm looking for what of 1871?
It's the Act of 1871.
Okay.
Now, there's several acts that were implemented by Congress, but the one has to do with incorporating the District of Columbia.
Okay.
And in the course of doing that, the whole premise behind that was to establish a federal corporation so that they could convert the states, and Washington, D.C. would have total control over not only the federal government portion, but also of the 50 states. Later became, we had 50 states as it stands now. So to entice the states of which to convert to a territorial corporation. See, we have no sovereign states anymore. They're still there, but let me put it this way, they're dormant. Because the states incorporated one by one, and they were induced by the federal government, said, if you'll become a territorial corporation, we'll give you money. So they gave them money, and they converted over. Oregon was one of the last to convert over, and in January 1st, 1954, it began to function as a territorial corporation. So that's what happened to all of the states. Now, specifically to go back to 1933 and the Federal Reserve Act, is the fact that they wanted to change our money system. And not only change it, but the Congress unlawfully transferred the authority and jurisdiction and the printing to the Federal Reserve, which is a private corporation for hire. And now we pay them to print our money. We borrowed the same money that we just paid to have printed, and then we pay interest on our own money that the Federal Reserve claims we now that they loaned us. Boy, you talk about some stupid. I don't even know how to.
No. This audience gets it, man. It's just
it is so asinine that I can't even believe that people with half a brain. But remember, there was an ulterior motive behind all of this.
Well, it doesn't matter. They didn't tell anybody. I mean, it wasn't like it's on front page or Facebook or something back in, 100 and whatever years ago. So I'm just going, of course, because they could. So they just came up with this and they made it up as they go along, and we rule you. I get it. Because they can. So
that brings us to the very point that by them doing what they did is an element of fraud. And under the fraud statutes, it states very clearly when there is not full disclosure and there is deceit or whether there's coercion, that nullifies and negates any and all contracts. So all of these contracts, whether they be written or what they call adhesion contracts, are null and void on their face. But they have depended upon the American people of being ignorant of the fact. So they just turn around and pretend and tell us that we're obligated to this and that. There's a very famous case, and it's called City of Dallas versus Mitchell case. And in that, the court stated very clearly that our rights do not come from government. Our rights come from our Creator. And the Constitution just guarantees those inalienable rights.
Oh, no, we know a lot of this rhetoric. I mean, this is one thing that Dr. Paul was going on about during the '08 campaign. He's like, look, man, if we don't, emphasize and articulate these positions in our heritage, we'll lose the definition, the meaning, and it'll be gone forever, and we don't even know what the hell you're talking about,
Well, and that's an interesting point, because throughout history it has been proven, once you lose a right or property, it's extremely difficult to get it back. And that's where our country is headed.
Did we lose the right to property? Is it there? Can we, is there some remedy? What comes to mind, I remember in the 90s they were making a big deal out of, rights reserved, UCC 17, whatever the hell it was. And on my driver's license, I still have it. Ernest, rights reserved, Hancock. The reason is that, just because I can and screw them, but, the reason is that you had to provide a mechanism that you could opt out of a mandated contract with the government or a third party. And part of that in Universal Commercial Code was the ability for you to reference a certain rights reserved. I am not signing my life over into, well, you have to, okay, well, here I signed it with my rights reserved. And they go, damn it, I hate when they do that. Okay. Now, it got so bad here in Arizona that the Attorney General here wrote an opinion to the Motor Vehicle Department saying that if they write by their name, rights reserved, you're not to accept the application. So I had this old driver's license cracked and broken and Scotch tape and glued and it was getting pretty bad, and it said it's good till 21. Woohoo! I'm gonna drag it out. I still got it. Now what I did though is when they made the DMVs, you could go to a strip center and they have these off-site things. They didn't care. They don't know any different. They just like, yeah, whatever, sign it, you process it. So I was able to do it again and write that on there. Ha ha ha. So it's just a little victory you get. But they left a provision for you to be able to opt out of this kind of. Is there a provision in the land titling that you can go and get a real piece of paper saying this is my freaking land? Is that possible now?
Well, it most certainly is. And as I stated this morning, and let me reiterate again here for your audience and those who have an interest. The original patent that was issued by the United States Government Trust to the grantee, the government is a grantor, the recipient is a grantee. Once the grantee sells the property, then he becomes an assignee or an assign. And on the basis of that transfer, as it comes down the line of buy, sell, et cetera, that patent never loses its authority or jurisdiction. It's just as good today as it was the day that it was issued. Now, there's a United States Supreme Court case, and I want to tell you about another case in just a minute, but in the case of Hooper versus Scheimer, the United States Supreme Court said, if you do this, and this, then you can bring that forever benefit forward. You're not creating a new patent. What you're doing is you're claiming the forever benefit of all the rights, title, and interest to your land. But you have to be an owner of record to be able to do that. And I mean, you've actually bought some property or you inherited some property that you go to the county courthouse and your name's on that document relative to that land.
Okay, now if I were to do that and I get it and I wish to sell that land, does the other person have to go through that process all over again, or is it just transferred?
No. You do that by way of you're doing a grant. You can sell a tree on it, you can sell the grass in your front lawn, but you can't sell the property. You grant the property and let them pay you for the grass or the stump or the rock or whatever.
Okay, well, let me get this straight. I go out and they have like these 40-acre, desert ranch of whatever for only $39,999. You can buy your 40 acres of the worst sunburnt scrub of whatever the hell, okay? So I get my land and I go, oh, it's my land, and I go through all this process, and then I go, yep, freedom-oriented people, here's your acre of pay me. I go through all this process, they get it free and clear, and we're free. Are we free?
Are you free?
Yeah, I mean, are the man's going to come in and say, man, where's your, your permit for whatever the hell?
Well, yes, you are. In law, you're free. But I tell you that they don't like you and I doing what I teach people to do.
Of course not, but I want to know if they can do anything, or they just, we're just like, yeah, bring it on, man. Let's go to court. We want to play.
Not lawfully they can't, because they have no authority. Now, I want to share with you another Supreme Court case.
All right.
In 1983, there was a case called Summa Corporation versus State of California Coastal Commission. And in that case, the State of California tried to take land that belonged to Summa Corporation that went from this lagoon area all the way to the ocean there in West Los Angeles. And the state said, we're going to take that property.
What year was this?
1983.
Okay.
It went in tonight. The ruling was done in 1984, but
God, only
so
that long? Crap.
well, the Supreme Court cases, those are anywhere from a year and a half to 3 years down the road as a general rule.
All right.
So anyway, Summa Corporation sued the state of California on a compensatory taking claim, and the state of California says we'll go for that because the courts are going to give us the land. So the California Superior Court ruled in favor of the state, and then so they appealed it to the state Supreme Court in California. The Supreme Court of California ruled against Summa. So then they filed in the federal district court. You have to go through all of these steps of the different courts to get where you're trying to go to get a remedy. And so they ruled against them. Then they filed with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The Ninth Circuit Court ruled against them, and they went to the United States Supreme Court, and the United States Supreme Court said, whoa, just friggin' whoa. It says, first of all, the patents are protected by treaty law, and they are, because that's how the United States acquired land, through treaties. So Article 6, Clause 2 addresses that very issue. Also, they said that in order for the state of California to have privity means lawful standing to make a claim. So to have privity, they had to be named on that original patent.
Okay, who had to be named? The government?
The state of California.
Okay, the state of California, yeah.
Right, no, hold that thought, because I'm going to get into why it is to answer your question. And the state of California was never a party to that patent. That patent is a private contract. And going back to what I shared this morning about the three elements under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 in the Constitution, that is another protective covenant that protects that patent. The first one was the Bill of Attainder. The second one was ex post facto law. And the third one, that the states cannot impair the obligation of contract. As I shared this morning, the government, when they issued any and all patents, creates a forever contract. So therefore, in that case of Summa, as any other land case having to do with a patent, no state, no private company, no government entity or whatever can infringe upon that. Now, as I shared this morning also, when the states relinquish their right, title, and interest under the Admissions Act to become a state, they severed any right or claim to that land. That's why they can't come back now and say, oh, you're subject to property tax, you're subject to building code, you're subject to setbacks, and on and on and on, all the other garbage. Let me say, if you look, and I have, in all of the patent law records, all of the excerpts and the hearings that they had relative to that, and it's in my book, that the individual that owned private property by way of a patent was never to be subject to property taxes. That's why it's an allodial title. All patents are allodial, meaning owing to no one or no lord or superior. You're king of your land. It's just like the United States Constitution. When that Constitution went to the Commonwealth of Delaware, the words "we the people" were not part of that Constitution. They added those words in there, and I can't find, of all the research that I've done, whether in fact they knew what they were doing or they were just divinely inspired. but by adding those three words, made all Americans kings of our land. The same thing applies not only constitutionally, but also in and through Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2, the land disposal part, by virtue of an allodial. Allodial title means you're king of your land.
Okay, I got a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
This is, I've been through a lot of different things. People go on Constitution this, and they said that, and articles of, and they said, and because. And I go, okay, well, what is the prevailing law? What is the precedent? What's the Supreme Court? Not that I give a crap, but I just want to know, has already been adjudicated, and the most recent court cases support what you're saying?
Well, the Summa case is one of them.
But has it been superseded by the communist Supreme Court of we don't care?
No. You have to understand how law works. Law on the Supreme Court level, there's no way to change that other than to petition the Supreme Court, all of the justices of which to reverse their decision. No government agency. Now, here's another thing in answering your question. As I shared before, patents are protected not only by constitutionally, but they're protected by treaty. Treaties are the superior umbrella over land patents, if I can put it that.
Yeah, I hear that stated a lot, but this is my question. Okay, let me try and make sure I get really clear on my question so you can answer it and we can move on. Is there a case that they, them, those, my audience, I go like this. Who are they, you conspiracist? They this, they that, the banks, whatever. They. And I go, let me tell you who they are. You want to know who they are? I'll tell you who they are. There are those that just want to be left alone, and there are those that just won't leave them alone. Okay? So for me to identify the bad guys are the ones that just won't leave me alone. Hey, he's won't leave me alonist over there. He's a bad guy. Okay? So when I say they, I mean the guys that won't leave me alone. Now, these guys that won't leave me alone, I'm wondering, is there a case, since this 80-something case, that would have overturned that would have said, no, we were wrong, and we're sorry, and yeah, we do rule you. So you're saying it is the prevailing law at this moment.
That is correct.
Okay.
Because the United States Supreme Court can't override that treaty either.
Okay. All right. That's good. Okay. So that's why we keep hearing, and we hear it a lot. We'll have legislators, they'll scream and bang on the table that you don't have the authority to change a treaty. The treaty is the highest of treaties. That's why they want to have a treaty to make you turn over whatever to the United Nations, and a treaty of the countries of whatever, and the treaty and the Senate does, and that's overriding rule of whatever the hell it is. So they are emphasizing the power of treaty, of course, to their advantage. Now, while they're doing that, you're just wringing your hands going, which means that this treaty, that the power of granting land, jurisdiction to the people, and they do that's the treaty and highest law, bite me, basically, right?
Yes.
Okay, so treaty is like now you're saying where in the Constitution is this power of treaty that I'm looking at Article 6, right?
Article 6, Clause 2.
All right, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, here, let me pull it up for the screen for the people. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Okay? So they're saying that whatever treaties made, that is it. And in the U.S. Constitution is law of the land. Yeah, and let me tell you what the law of the land Constitution says. Treaties are the law of the land. Right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, in these treaties, you're saying that by treaty, they have transferred the land, or what was the government just like the custodian as it went to the people or something? I mean, where are you making the continuity from that statement to my land is mine? Where does that happen?
because just one of them that I just quoted to you, and that's the Suma case. Their emphasis was more on the treaty issue of Guadalupe Hidalgo, a treaty that included California with the treaty with Mexico.
And Arizona.
And all of the other states or partial states that were a part of that treaty.
Yeah.
And there's no one that has the authority of which to change that.
Okay, now this is one thing I want to bring this as an aside to give weight to this. We went through this one time, and this may be news to you, and it kind of all right. Let me just tell you the story, and you'll understand the application. There was an initiative, there was a wave of activism across the country that we need to take care of the animals. So you're violating animal rights or whatever by having cockfighting. You're violating animal rights by having chickens in too small of pens, pigs in too small of pens, whatever. And it was really, vegans that didn't want animals traumatized, whatever the reasoning was. So they did this initiative, and it banned cockfighting in Arizona. Roosters, male chickens out there, man, just giving them what fur. Now, what happened was there was a group, they were all freaked out, and it was a Hispanic community here. That's part of our culture. A libertarian friend of mine, he goes, yeah, the Treaty of Guadalupe, or Guadalupe, or whatever it was. So he goes, in that treaty, when Mexico negotiated or sold or, we paid for this, and that's a whole nother thing. Maximilian, they shouldn't have sold, or should they sold her? They got a raw deal, and he pocketed the money, whatever. That's this Aslan thing, whatever. There was Mexico had Southern California and Arizona, New Mexico. A lot of this was Mexico land. Well, in the transaction, there was, you give us money, we give you land under these treaty conditions. And one of those conditions is that the culture of the people living here from Mexico was not to be taken over or outlawed or whatever. And they were making the argument that cockfighting is part of their culture under treaty, and that treaty superseded whatever law or initiative you did. So I remember that being part of the discussion. Now, in the end, he was just a guy, and it freaked them out, and they definitely spent a bunch of time on it, and eventually they just did it anyway because you didn't have big lawyers. But I remember their response, like, damn it, I hate when the slaves figure this stuff out. So that right there, that treaty, that's the treaty that they were using to try also not just to, there were other provisions in there also that you're talking about. What were they?
Well, the treaty is what we call in law a protective covenant. In other words, what lies under that umbrella, if you can look at it as a big umbrella of protection, there's no authority of which to supersede that treaty. And that's why the United States Supreme Court in the Summa Corporation versus State of California Coastal Commission made a statement very interesting. They told the state of California, this is settled law. Whenever you hear that term, settled law, it means that's what it was in its origination. That's what's been carried through to today, and that's what will be continued to carry through in law in the future.
Now, you said something this morning that I thought was interesting. It was something like any action on this trade is repugnant to, don't even bring it, what are you wasting my time for? What was that phrase?
Well, that had to do with the report of the General Land Office to Congress and Senate in 1870, which established the fact that all patents were allodial, and that the fact that they did not even consider any court action in our courts in this land having to do with complaining or bringing a suit against somebody by virtue of what they were using their land for. Now, let me say something to clarify. Every state has a police power, but I want it known, and I want to make perfectly clear, that police power is very, very, very narrow. Now, that police power relative to the patent only has one particular application, and that is if what you're doing on your land is a direct threat to the public's health, safety, and welfare. If it is not a direct threat to public health, safety, and welfare, the police power, the code enforcement, all of this other garbage has no lawful standing at all. That's the only way that any police power can come and say, "Hey, you know, you're building a TNT bomb here, or whatever. You know, spilling hazardous chemicals, that gets into the ditch and, kills all the cattle drinking water out of the ditch, or whatever."
Okay, I've heard this before. It was very recently. I was at the Red Pill event in Mesquite, Nevada, of G. Edward Griffin. You're probably familiar with G. Edward Griffin. Are you?
No, I'm not.
G. Edward Griffin wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island, about the Federal Reserve and so on. But he has these events, and I was there. Are you familiar with the Bundy and the Bundy Ranch and Ammon Bundy?
Very familiar.
Okay. Now, Ammon, we've had him on the show for hours and hours and done this and told me everything about everything, and I just talked to him a couple of months ago. And we were talking about this very issue, and he came up with the same thing that you were talking about, and I'm looking for the show. He came up with 3 court cases. He says, "Ernie, there are 3 court cases, and the main thing is they do not have jurisdiction to do anything, to come on and bother your whatever, unless a few criteria." And I'm going, all right, what are these criteria? And he goes, 1, if you're violating the peaceful use or whatever of another person's property, their life, liberty, property. You're violating another person's rights. You're polluting their water. That's
correct.
That's the purpose of government, is to defend individual rights, even if they got, patent title of whatever and they're lobbing mortars in you. We're like, we vote no. Okay. So I'm going, okay. And what's the other one? He goes, when, like what they had done, when you enter into a contract with them. If you, like they had a contract for the use of the land and that's what, the federal government didn't want to honor the contract, and then, so that's, and hilarity ensued. Now, so he goes, if you're in contract with the government, you got to go by whatever the contract is. If you are violating someone else's property, then they got like a thing. And then there was something else, I think. Now, there were 3 cases that he did. I'm looking it up right now from a show that we did. And his 3 cases were this. And I had them up for a long time, and I haven't been able to look at them. Okay, one was United States versus Minker in 56. Now, and then what was the other one? It was Shuttlesworth versus City of Birmingham and Murdoch versus Pennsylvania. And the point that he was making is that what you were saying, in all these cases, they don't have jurisdiction. It goes kind of basically, you even preempt this and go, hey, man, if it's a treaty thing and the land office comes up and says, man, don't even bring this stuff to us, it's already settled law. Okay? So when I brought this up to him, I go, can I occupy my own land? And he was saying these 3 cases will help with that. And I'm going to send these to you just so you got them just out of
Yeah, if you would, I would appreciate it. So
this is Ammon, which is, he's, looking at this at least as much as you, I would imagine. So I'm going to send these to you because I am of the opinion that we are on the edge of an awareness of this stuff. That this is some people just going to go, made you go, So I'm just, now your email is D as in David, R-I-T as in Tom, ECRG@hotmail.com, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And I'm going to forward this to DRI. Now check your email and see if you got my other email yet.
Okay. Can I read something?
Please. We got time. We're taking it easy, man. We're chilling. We're going till we're done.
In reference to the power of the patent, and I wrote an excerpt for a publication here some years back on that. That's the title I used. But in that, I showed where in statutes. Now, I'm not a statute guy, but I have to use them. I'm a law guy. Law and statutes are not one and the same. People think that all the statutes and codes are law, and I can tell you they are not. They're corporate rules and regulations. But let me read even what statute says. This is in Title 43, Section USC, stand for United States Code, number 57 and Section 83. Title 43 of Section 57 establishes that duly certified copies of a federal land patent shall be evidence in all cases where the original would be the evidence. Title 43, Section 83 covers the evidentiary effect of a certified federal land patent for all states and in all courts in the United States. And all courts must take judicial notice of the federal patents and their evidentiary effect under these federal statutes. All judges in all states shall be bound as to the power and the validity of the patent. And my point is simple. The United States versus DeBell is one of the cases. There are numerous other ones. But the point that I'm making, when you take a certified copy, if there's a court action against you or whatever, then you have a right to take that copy of a certified land patent, and the judge is bound to rule in your favor because he's bound by the statute.
No. I understand. And what in an activist 30 years doing this mind, what's the first thing? The government makes sure you don't get that copy of paper, man. Hell no. You know, so I'm wondering what the roadblocks are in the process by which I want, because it says in that case, whenever the document, the patent is in question, it shall blah, blah, blah. And I go, okay, well, first I got to get it. Well, how do I get it?
Are you asking me a question?
Yeah. I mean, how do I get that, that designation on my property?
Well,
I get that patent. That's buy my book.
Hang on a minute. Yeah, buy the book, darn it. But in the book, I teach you how. That's what I do at the seminars, and I go through very diligently, step by step, of what you have to do, how to do it, when to do it, da-da-da-da. So when you're done, you will have a first-hand knowledge about how to put a land patent sandwich together.
Okay, is there a mechanism that has been used, has become a standard? Is there a kit? Is there whatever that the government has thwarted, restricted, hurdled, lied to not allow you to do this process?
I know of no lawful means. Here's what the attorneys and the judges will say. We don't recognize land patents anymore. That's old stuff. Well, that was the reason why they did, as I was sharing with you this morning, converted the land to real estate rather than the land designation. They had to get some way that they felt that they could get control of it and tax it. Land patents cannot be taxed by property tax. It cannot be controlled by building codes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, God. So they're just running in front of the line to pass those out. So what is when they say, no, do I have to sue? Do I go through? Because, see, this is my thing. So you understand. We're on the edge of this. I'm 58 years old. It's time for me to, I'm thinking about retirement. I got 12 grandkids, 4 kids. I'm wanting, the Lone Prairie out in the desert here of something. And I want to not have to worry about this stuff. They're just pissing me off. So it's, do I got to go pirate? I got to go to space? Seriously. The experiment, the American experiment was what? Freedom works. We already found that. Made us the most powerful nation really quick. All of a sudden, boom. And I'm going, okay, the real experiment is, can we retain our freedom and rights? That is, and how it happens is, of course, bad guys are going to do exactly what they're doing because they can. So they can tax you, they get more money, they, whatever, it's money, and it sucks to be you. You're just livestock. And I go, whoa. I guarantee this country was not founded that way. I guarantee, it may have been on conquest or whatever, they got the land, stole it from somebody, but in the end, they're going, all right, we're going to give it to you and it's yours because, peace out and bring us your tired, hungry, poor and the Oklahoma Sooners and get out and homestead and go. And it's yours. And then at some point they go, not so much. So then it's after, what they call it, the Reformation, after the Civil War. So you got the Civil War and now they go, we're going to have to do something. We're going to make everybody a slave. We're going to get this taken care of. So then they start going to this warranty deed thing, but because of our Constitution, because of a lot of things, it was always there. Now, they may not want to, it's not when you go and buy a house here in Arizona and you go through your title search and you go to the closing table and you're going to file the documents with the county recorder. They go and they have a form and it says, do you want to take title this way, or this way? And you go, I don't want none of those ways. I want this way. I mean, we don't have that one. Life sucks. You don't get the bubble to check. So I'm going, all right, at what time you're saying that I have to own the property or go through their warranty deed process first and then bring this patent thing forward. Is that right?
That is correct. And that came out of Hooper versus Scheimer case, United States Supreme Court case, that addressed this very issue. If you're listed as an owner of record, means that you bought a piece of property and you recorded it at the county court, you are an owner of record, even though you own real estate. Real estate and land are not one and the same in their legal context.
So what does real estate mean?
Real estate means that it is a ownership is claimed by the state. That's why they require property taxes, building codes, setbacks, any land use.
So you're renting your land from the government under a condition of fascist, we own you, kind of communist, whatever thing.
All of your listeners, go. I'm asking them to go pull up their warranty deed and look at it, and they will be listed as a tenant, not as an owner. Here's what the warranty deed conveys to you. It conveys the fact that you have an equity interest in a given piece of property. It also assures you a right of occupancy, but zero right of ownership. Go look on your warranty deed. You will be a tenant or a tenant in common.
Yeah, see, that's one thing. My wife, Donna, is a real estate agent, and they always ask, how do you want to take ownership, and as a individual or a married couple, and then you still get another option. Now, those options, a tenant in common and a tenant in what does that mean?
In other words, that there's other people that have a right to that property. In other words, a husband and wife, or a parent and child.
Yeah, I'm looking at a copy here.
There's a right of occupancy
on a warranty deed.
Absolutely.
Okay, see, this is my all right. This is my original question. When I went through this stuff, you start. Okay, I tell you the story. This is how it happened. They still rule you, and you can and can't, and you have tos, and all this other crap. And I'm not feeling comfortable about that. Certainly out in the middle of the desert. I was in New Hampshire this last summer for a freedom festival thing called Porcupine Freedom Festival, Free State Project, New Hampshire. It's a long story. So they've been going on for 15 years or so. Been up there probably 10 of them. There is a state legislator in New Hampshire that's part of the Free State Project. He's a libertarian that, ran as a Republican. I'm a freedom guy, and here I am. They had a small town in New Hampshire, had a fire that burned down the home of the farmer that was there, and they had a outbuilding or a barn or something. He went and bought it cheap, backed his RV into the barn, and then just started living there. Well, after he voted no on some expansion of county money for the whatever, the local town, oh yeah, we don't like him. We'll take care of him. So they went and they said, your land, you don't have your occupancy permit. You didn't get the building code of rebuild of kind of whatever. You don't have your permission slip to live on your own land. And I'm going, whoa. So then I started thinking, I'm going, okay. I need to know where this occupancy permit thing came from. Well, you get your occupancy permit after you meet some building code if you did all this other stuff. Okay, where does this building code stuff come from? Then I find out that there was 3 regions. You had west of the Mississippi, you had east of the Mississippi and north of like the Mason-Dixon line or something, and south. So there were 3 areas that they had some kind of building code, but it was all about the roof didn't fall in on you for whatever reason, okay? So they go, we decided the roof's not supposed to fall in on you. Then they had the HVAC, plumbers, and electricians all come, we need to be in there too and make sure we get jobs or whatever, all right? So then it started. Then I started seeing where all these standards came from. United Nations. The United Nations is sitting, these are the criteria by which, habitable and human needs, at least running water or something. They came up with some standard. So then the United States had it homogenized across the country. It was under one thing. You have to have an occupancy permit to occupy the land. And to get the occupancy permit, you have to have met all these building codes in your sewer and all this other stuff, in order to get that. So I'm going, wow, when did that happen? Well, you're saying the occupancy permit is this warranty deed thing.
That is correct.
Okay, now when I got raw land and I'm a developer and I go out and I build a whatever, they go, I don't remember doing any occupancy permit stuff because you didn't do it. The developer did. It started with them when they got it, and it's been this warranty deed ever since, and they carved out that they got a section of land that they bought from the government for somebody got paid something anyway. Okay? So I'm going, okay. Because here in Arizona, they had, state only 16% of the land here in Arizona is in private hands. The rest of it is, forest, BLM, gunnery range, Native American reservation, whatever. Okay, so I'm going, wow. So all these things, I keep walking it back, and I get to this occupancy permit thing, and I'm going, where in the hell did that come from? So this warranty deed that when they decided, in the beginning, that warranty deed is the occupancy permit. Am I close?
Yes.
Now, that warranty deed, they came up and they said, we're going to give you a warranty deed now, not this other. When did that happen? How did that when I went to the county and I want to get my, and this is always a county recorder level, right?
Yes.
I go to the county and I say, I want my real patent property deed of. Every single square inch of everywhere, somewhere, the county has the patent of that land. True or false?
That is correct.
So they have it. I go, all right, this is the description of my land, a plot. When you do real estate, I'm real estate agent, in the day too. So I go, all right, I know I can get here it is. I go, there is a patent deed on that designated property somewhere, somehow, and now I need to go through the process of making that mine. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay, now when did this happen? Okay, say that again. When did they go from that patent, and all of a sudden you went down and said, yesterday that was this, and today it's that?
Well, the big push came as a result of the implementation of Congress of the Administrative Procedures Act, June 11th, 1947. And from that point on, every patent that came in to be recorded, they kept the patent and then gave back. They sent back. They didn't do it right there. They just told the people who bought the land, we'll send you your title back. That's what they told them. And what they got back was anything but a title.
Lion sacks of snot.
Well,
wow.
Sure. Let me say something here that I think needs to be said. All of government under an administrative jurisdiction, and that's all of our government, federal, state, county, city, every bit of that is a criminal syndicate. It was designed for that purpose. It functions as that purpose, and that's the reason why the people's rights don't matter. Because criminals don't have bounds and laws and restrictions. They just go and do what they want. If they feel they can get by with it, that's what they do.
If they can, they do.
They do, exactly.
You know, this is what a lot of people, they'll ask me about conspiracy. I want to get this in so you understand our mindset. They come in and they go, Ernie, do you think it's a conspiracy of their, what they put in the air, the water, the this, the that, the vaccines? Do you think those are bad and they do? I go, I don't know. Can they maintain, expand, and enhance their power and position and truthfulness over you to their benefit? I don't know. Can they do it? Is it physically possible? Well, yeah. Then they're doing it. Well, you think there's some mental hurdle they got to get over or moral hurdle? They go, we wouldn't do that. That'd be wrong. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Who do you think you're dealing with? Okay.
It's a prime example, Ernest, of what we're viewing every night on the television is this impeachment deal. There's no impeachment ever in this country of only the three that have come before the House and the Senate, but none of them have ever been done the way that they're doing this.
Because they can't.
Because they think they can get away with it. And the American people need to rise up and absolutely stomp that whole bag of manure flat, because that's all it's worth.
Well, what do you think? You think the people are ready to rise up? I mean, I'll give you an example. We did this legislative session. We sent, a couple weeks ago, thousands. We did 30 states' legislatures. Each got at least 1 to 3 DVDs, on freedom from mandated vaccines and First Amendment stuff and Second Amendment stuff. Well, of course, there was a book called Unintended Consequences by John Ross, I think. You are familiar with this book at all?
No, I'm
Unintended Consequences was right after Waco, and it was a novel, and it was kind of a Second Amendment and against the BATF, and they're bad, and it was a novel. It was like Claire Wolfe said, it was a romance novel for men. I mean, it was kind of just gonna get some. Well, that book kind of went out of print, and they went after him big time because they didn't like that book. And he was a stockbroker or attorney or something in Missouri or whatever. Well, when they did that book, they even went after his ex-wife to try and turn state's evidence. He's a terrorist. I mean, they really went after it. Well, what happened was a listener in Houston sent me PDFs that he proofed and copies of it or whatever to put on the site. Now, I had the author on, and I know for you, I said, yep, we're putting it up and sue me and whatever. Well, what happens, it made it much more popular. All of a sudden, boom. Every now and then I'll get a big download of that. Well, in the last week or so, big download numbers of that from the PDF on our site. And the reason is because all this, Virginia Second Amendment stuff. And I'm going, yeah, they remember that book. Well, boom, it starts going. I can see, based on whatever the news is or whatever's happening in the country, by that and other, we've had 400,000 articles that we've had since 2005 on Freedom's Phoenix. Freedom's Phoenix has been around a long time. So we were one of the early, even before broadband was a big deal. When it started doing video on the internet, when YouTube first started, I go, now's the time. Because we had the idea for this in 96. We knew as activist libertarians, young guys in their late 20s, early 30s, and so we go, woo, we know what be a coming. Well, when it happened, we go, boom, this is what we're doing. Well, I can see the mood of the people based on the traffic of old articles. And it's going to be this show that you and I do. It'll be 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 5 years from now, and I'll see it going wham, and a needle will go up, and you'll see a big giant, all of a sudden they order the book if we got to have us land patent book. So I'm going, okay, there's something happening, and I feel that coming. That's why I'm so adamant about getting this up, because it will be demonstrative that I think the people are ready now for this information. What have you witnessed? How busy are you now as compared to 2, 3 years ago? What's happening?
There had just been an explosion of interest in this land patent stuff and people's rights. But especially their land. It's kind of like I get a lot of emails and calls from people who are experiencing a foreclosure. And this patent stops that. Let me tell you a little story, if I may.
Please.
I have two ladies in Los Angeles that do not know each other, even to this day, don't know each other. But I did the land patent, the legal papers for them, and that they were facing foreclosure. And I got them both done, sent them to them, and they were about 2 months apart, give or take, whatever the time frame was. And the first gal goes to court there in South Los Angeles, and the bank attorney is there, and they're trying to take her land. And she says, Your Honor, she says, I object to this whole proceeding. And the judge asked her, he said, on what basis are you objecting? She says, I have a land patent on my property. And the judge asked her, she called me after the hearing, and the reason that I know the story. And he said, what did you say? Did I have a land patent? He said, do you have it with you? And she said, yes, I do. So he said, may I see it? So she pulled it out of her folder, handed it to the bailiff, and he handed it to the judge. And immediately the opposing attorney jumped up and objected. Your Honor, I object to this whole thing. Land patents are not even relative in this case. And the judge told him to sit down, and he stood there and argued there a bit more. And the judge turned and looked at him, and he said, Counselor, I said, sit down. So he sat down, and the judge thumbed through this paperwork, and then he asked this gal a couple more questions. And she answered him, and then he said, well, everything seems to be in order. And immediately this attorney jumps back up. Objection, Your Honor, objection. Said, we're here for a foreclosure, not to some property history document. And that judge got right after that attorney. And he said, Counselor, he said, you sit down, and I don't want to hear a word out of you unless I ask for you to comment. So he asked the gal a couple more questions. And then finally he looked over at that attorney and didn't say anything. And he looked back at this lady that had the patent, and he said, I'm going to dismiss this foreclosure. And that attorney jumped up again and just throwing a wall-eyed fit. And that judge pointed to him, the gal said, and said, Counselor, I'm half tempted, he said, to hold you in contempt of court. Sit down and shut up. And so he sat down, and he brought the gavel down, and he said, case dismissed. And, I missed part of it. The attorney, when he jumped up that last time, said, Your Honor, why would you even consider dismissing this case? She hadn't paid the bill on her property, da-da-da-da-da. He said, that's not what's relative here. He said, this is under a federal land patent. He said, I have no jurisdiction over this. He said, it's protected constitutionally and by treaty. So then, several months later, the other gal was basically the same story. Now, not too often do you find a judge that's honest and fair and adheres to what his true jurisdiction is.
Oh, no, we got plenty of they don't care. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and that's the point that I'm making. But I'm just saying, in that particular case, neither one of them knew each other, but they ended up with the same judge on each one of their foreclosures.
Okay, now this is one thing that I want to emphasize so the audience knows. You get just enough information to get yourself in trouble. So you got to be careful and know the risk, and you're willing to whatever and put forth the time. But I'm for doing it just out of activism. I want to freaking make them say it. I want them to say it. Okay, and then you go to the next level, and the next level, and the next level. And they know that I'm activist going. We're going all the way. We're going to get her done. And it comes down to this. I have been through so many of these kinds of, capital letters and admiralty of the flag of fringes of not before the bar. I've heard it all, okay? And you get away with some and some you don't, and, it's not consistent. But as you get higher, and certainly that's another thing, you would hope that, with the different, it's not Obama judges, it's Trump. Maybe they'll might be better. I mean, you never know. I mean, they all are on the side of the state, so what's the difference? But, I'm looking at instances and examples from the 90s. It worked until it didn't work. They would do these, even this UCC rights reserved provision in the law that we even had stamps that you would stamp it. Your driver, any government document you sign, you go boom. And I've had guys, they go into court under a civil violation for traffic, running a stop sign or something. And they go, I signed it under rights reserved here. I'm not under you, because that's what that means. I didn't go into a civil contract with the city of Phoenix. So I got this. I'm not in it. Bite me. And they go, case dismissed. Right? Case dismissed. They're just case dismissed because you retained your right not to enter into a contract with them. Now then they go, oh, we don't want that. So then they started getting patriot judges. Not that they were patriots, but they were, when they get patriot informed people come in, this is when you start getting the people to say the Constitution doesn't mean anything in my courtroom, and they're happy to say that. Okay? So I'm going, I've seen this, so what do you need to do? You go to the next level, which I'm perfectly willing to do. I have argued, I'm not an attorney, but I have argued before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals oral argument in San Francisco on election law cases. I've had like 3 or 4 cases go to Arizona Supreme Court, gone to Court of Appeals, whole bunch of, make them say it! I want them to say it. Never with any intention. And I got them to pass a bunch of laws and try to make it moot here and and stay on this until they can change that and all this kind of crap. But I'm going, and most of it was on election laws and paying off and the unconstitutional debts and all this other stuff. But the point was, Second Amendment stuff, I'm being a butthead. I was county chairman of the Libertarian Party here. I've run for office a gazillion times, Congress 3 times, U.S. Senate against John McCain in 2004, Secretary of State twice, blah, 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 blah. Activism. My whole point is general public opinion, and I know how to bring to bear those issues to get general public opinion about something. And I choose this. For the next year and a half, Donna, my wife, and I are traveling the country on this issue. Beginning of May, we leave. We already bought the RV. It's being picked up now in New Hampshire. We're going to beginning of February to go get entitled and get it all done. We get it all upgraded and move rock and roll and whatnot. Then May 1st, we start traveling the country and we focus on property rights. If I own my body, I can't be forced, or my children, to be forced to take a notion and potion vial from the freaking crown in the form of vaccines or anything else, forced health care, Nuremberg trial kind of stuff. I mean, holy crap. And then the property of my real property, my land property. This, if it pleases the crown, may I occupy my own land. Those 2 property issues, my body and my land, I have to get to the bottom of this because it's for my grandchildren. You cannot be in a free society or a free country if the crown owns the land that they say you own, but you don't really. And you can't use it to your own without bothering anybody. That's what Ammon Bundy was saying. He's going, Ernie, as long as you're not violating someone else's use or their rights, to their property, you're golden. Boom, I can live by that. Hell, I want to live by that. I want somebody else not, violating my, peaceful enjoyment of my whatever the hell. Now, you can get into how many hog farms they can have and all that kind of crap, but, at least that's the base philosophy that we're going for. So I'm hoping, Ron, that you understand how really all in I am on this issue and why I've been looking for you. You see my point?
Well, and I do, and I appreciate your enthusiasm about wanting to carry this thing forward because it's absolutely necessary. When I tell people in my seminars or in speaking engagements, and I do a lot of that as well, but that they're coming after your land, they look at me like, well, what time's lunch? They do not realize the seriousness of what I'm trying to share with them. And I have some very good, reliable inside sources of information that I'm privy to. And I'm just saying that you better get your land protected or you don't have any protected. Wayne Hague said it best. And I don't know if you're familiar with Wayne Hague, but he had a 25-year battle with the U.S. government on them trying to steal his Pine Creek Ranch there in Nye County, Nevada. And it's a lot like the Bundy situation.
Yeah, he was a guy
years
that used a bulldozer to clear the dike. If they get to use it back in the 90s or something, right?
Well, it was even earlier than that, clear back into the mid-'80s. But the Forest Service representative liked the ranch, and they wanted to take it from the Haig family for the purpose of having an elite retreat for the upper echelon of Forest Service personnel. And so they started cutting their fences, they started cutting their water off, whatever. But in the course of that whole litigation, Wayne Higgs said something very interesting. He said, unless you own property, you are property.
No.
And that's in my book. And also I have a thing in my book from Tom DeWeese. And Tom DeWeese, you probably know who he is.
Yeah, we know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a personal friend of mine, and we've been in seminars together up in Canada. But he had a thing is, what is the value of land? And he had an article that he wrote in a publication, and I called him and asked him if I could put that in my book, and he said sure. But he's right on the money. Well, I'll tell you what, I'd like to encourage your people to support him because he's out there swinging the bat, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I've spoken at some of his things. He had a thing in Pennsylvania. We've spoken together in California. So I've known Tom quite a while. Is he still around? I haven't heard.
Oh, yeah, you bet. He's going and blowing. I got an email from him here the other day, and but he
wants to help and work. I'll work with Tom on that. We'll go kick ass. I was like, woo! See, I know there's a lot of my listeners that are right now going, or when they listen to archive or whatever, they're going, yeah, Ernie's been yakking about it. Well, here it is. I guess we're doing it, Now, just a few days ago, I had a Dr. Elena Johnson Paw on. Does that name ever come across you?
Yes, I recognize the name.
Now, Dr. Paw, she was born in Romania. She came under Nicolae Ceausescu. She came here to America. She was a teacher 30 years. And her big thing all of a sudden, and Agenda 21 and 2030 and whatever. Okay. Now, Rosa Corey, I've had on long. She's spoken at our Freedom Summits. We put on summits here in Arizona. She's we spoke together up at Mesquite at Gilbert Griffin's event here just recently. And she is a lefty liberal lesbian from San Francisco, and her job was to do eminent domain to save the planet and whatever. And what she found out is what she was doing and pricing eminent domain property, and it was just going to some developer that was building a strip center or something. She's going, whoa. That's not what they said. The lion sacks of snot, So she's, then she wrote the book Behind the Green Mask. And then we just came across, because I've been doing this, exactly what I'm talking to you about. One of my listeners in Tucson said, I saw this 2015 YouTube of Dr. Elena Johnson Paw, and I think she may have some of the information that you're talking about. So I had her on just last week, and I'm going, yeah, this is okay. I get that, but there was a progenitor to this. Then you talk to people like James Corbett that we do a show weekly, with on Wednesdays, a podcast. Then we have Tragedy and Hope with Richard Grove that does a lot of the research on the back and early days of. This information that you have in this format, in this way, needs to be penetrated to these other people that have either missed it, didn't understand the relevance of it, or don't know it, because they are the ones that need this, that they will make the connection to the people that were lobbying for this. Now, that was my origination story. I go, where did it originate from? Who was the lobbyist? Who was the politician? Who was the institution? Who was the Bilderberg, Rockefeller, and Rothschild? And we were going to take over America. And how are we going to do it? We're going to do it with the army? It ain't going to work. They're going to have to take away our land. And this is, in my estimation, and by everything that I looked, was intentional with a long-term plan of bringing down America. Of what made it strong was property rights, where the government couldn't take it away. It was at the DNA level, the Constitution, that you are the king of your castle, and we can't do it. And they go, we got to change that. Was there a person?
That is the very reason that you just mentioned is why the foreclosure issue, I don't know if your listeners are aware or not, but in the 2008 stimulus package that Obama proposed and got Congress to sign was an $800 billion padded the pockets of the bank. They claimed they were going broke.
Yeah.
Let me digress a minute. When a bank says that they make you a loan, they don't make you a loan. They don't lend you one red penny. What they do is they take the promissory note, which is equal to the value that you agreed to pay for the land, and that can be used in a number of different ways. But two of the primary ways is it's either cashed as a check, or what they do is they monetize it. In other words, they sell it. I got a friend of mine in 2007 bought a $500,000 home and property, had 6 or 7 acres, with a beautiful home on it. And anyway, in 2012, because our economy here went to hell in a basket, he was facing foreclosure. So he called me, and he said, Ron, he said, what do I do? So I said, the first thing we need to do is get a securitization audit done on your loan. And so a securitization audit, for those who don't know, is that there are companies out there and or individual that they trace the signature and they trace the money. Wonderful job that they do. And there's some shysters out there, but if you ever have to use one, make sure you get references. But the point being, I had him do a securitization audit. And on that, from 2007 to October of 2012, that promissory note had generated over $97 million and was still going. And yet he's saddled with a $500,000 obligation to the bank. That's a fraud, and therefore, under the fraud statutes, it says very clearly that when there is fraud committed in any transaction, it negates any and all contracts. So that contract is null and void on its face because the bank represented that they made him a $500,000 loan, and they took his own signature. Your signature is your power. And so they took that promissory note and cashed it with the IMF, of which there's an account that's created by virtue of your birth certificate, and that's a whole other subject.
I know. I've done this before, and it's like, this they need to get. It used to be that you couldn't get, when I was a kid, and I turned 16 in 76, 8, 7, around in there, my 16th birthday, I went and got a job at McDonald's that was just opening up wherever it was, and you need to get a Social Security number. So I filed to get a Social Security number so I can go work. Well, now, when I started having children, you're not allowed to write them off as a dependent until you get a Social Security number. Then it's at birth. They just like birth certificate, Social Security number. Well, I don't want it. And then they send it anyway. And I'm going, whoa. So this, and I'm going, why the difference? Well, what I find out is that the Social Security number is they're just monetizing you as collateral for debt.
That's correct.
So I'm going, what the hell? When you get arrested, they create a bond. When you have any interaction with the government whatsoever, is if there is the promise that they're going to get some money on you or tax your property or whatever, that gives them the overlapping ability to keep, it's like they keep selling the same stock. It's like naked short selling or something, So You create a number, they're making some money on it, and sooner or later, all of this is going to come due. And when it does, who really owns the land? Now, this warranty deed, are the people going to be protected? Are they going to be, or is the government going, we eminent domained it, it's ours now? Now, you're saying this patent preempts eminent domain?
The eminent domain, let's talk about that a minute. The eminent domain cannot be imposed upon a land patent. It can be imposed upon real estate, but not a land patent. The only way that eminent domain can come into fruition, however you pronounce that, is on the basis that the landowner has knowledge and agrees to let them take a portion of his property or buy a portion of his property. But they cannot implement and follow through on a court action, an eminent domain action.
So they can't force it. They can, if they want it that bad, well, you just fork. The answer is always yes. It's just how much.
That is correct.
Okay, now
It's
they do. I'm sorry.
It's a negotiation of price at that point.
Well, let me tell you how Rosa Corey was saying. Let me tell you how you negotiate. You go in, you say, you're condemned, and now you're selling because you can't use it. We just condemned, done, next. See, this is what Kelo versus whatever, the Kelo decision in Connecticut, I think it was, or whatever. They said the Supreme Court, and they just freaked out everywhere around the country. And here in Arizona, in the early 2000s, they passed an initiative or changed the law or whatever that they can't do this because they started doing it everywhere. And what it was, the Kelo decision says the government has a public interest in your property, not just for roads or any of this other stuff. Their public interest or service or need is that if they can seize your property and give it for another interest that will pay more in property tax, that interest in making more government money off of your property is enough eminent domain, we take it. That's what the Kelo decision was.
Well, and that in itself is unlawful relative to land patent.
They don't care, but the land patent thing would preempt this. They couldn't even get to that point.
Well, that's true.
All right.
And we've had occasions to where different individuals within an agency, we've filed suit against them individually. You don't want to sue the county. You don't want to sue the state.
Yeah, you sue that some bitch freaking line, he's violating the man, go get him.
When you start picking the individual's pocket, they're not so eager to come and pull the horse shit that they do. So,
oh, man. Okay. Now, have you done this for yourself?
On the patent?
Yeah.
Yes. It's in my book.
Okay, so in your book it shows you go, yep, I did it, I got it, it's mine, they can suck it. How much land? How big?
It was only about 5 acres, 4.5 acres.
But you did it.
Sure.
And is there a limit of size or anything?
No, absolutely none. You can have a lot in downtown New York. As long as you're owner of record, you can do it.
Okay, why isn't this done more?
Because the government has worked very, very diligently to shut up any conversation. That's why the judges and the attorneys are taught and instructed to put cold water on that issue of patent every time you can, because they're in the process of a taking. I don't know if you know or not, and I'm going to say something, and I'm going to ruffle some feathers here, but I'm going to say it because it's a fact.
Ooh, that's my favorite part. Go ahead.
I have the document. In 1920, I think it was 1922, been years since I looked at it, but I have the document. The American Bar Association joined the Communist Party. Okay? No, I'm serious.
No doubt.
Well, wait, as Paul Harvey would say, what do you hear the rest of the story? In that agreement, they agreed to take on and promote all of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. Okay? And with that, they agreed to 2 other items that were to be included in item 1. What's item 1 on the Communist Manifesto?
No, the state owns all means of everything.
Well, it's to dispose, to do away with all private property.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now, they're now instructed to divest you and I of our money, our rights, and our property. Now, having said that, to go back to the foreclosure point I made to you earlier, that's the reason that the foreclosure of this $800 million stimulus package went to only the benefit of the banks. In that agreement, if you go and read that agreement, the banks, if they will foreclose on your property, they get 80% of the original value out of that stimulus package. Plus, they get to keep all the money that you paid on the property while you've had it, whether it be 1 year or 20 years or whatever.
The biggest bank robbery ever.
It is the most heinous criminal act known to man. They don't care whether your children have a place to lay their head at night. All they want is the money. And
it'd been cheaper if we just paid off everybody's mortgage and let them have a house and we're done.
Well, that's what
I did
it
the
would have
math.
done.
It was cheaper. That was not about it. It was about getting them the money.
Exactly. I forget what the number was.
No, it's ridiculous. It's in the tens of trillions. I mean, it's ridiculous. It went all over the world. It went to businesses, banks. It was ridiculous. So it's their credibility is gone. It's done. I just need to know: is there a mechanism? Because see, I don't expect them to go. Oh, Ernie, God, they slapped their forehead. We could add a V8. Oh, as long as you filled out the right paperwork, Ernie. Holy crap! I'm just so glad. I go, no, they're not going to do that. I'd almost be disappointed if they did. So I'm going, no, I want you explain this to me. And this is the one thing that I needed from the beginning. And the audience knows that I've been screaming this for months. I want the origination story of when it went from it was my land to not my land, and they just kind of made it up. I want to know that. When did that happen? And you've answered that. So finally you win. You get help from whatever the hell will make you, infamous-er, because I'm like, damn, about time. And this land patent seminar that's going on in Kingman, because Kingman is kind of this mindset anyway. There's a whole bunch of land up in Kingman that they're just Kingman land of Kingman. I mean, they're doing 40-acre lots left and right. I mean, they're doing whatever. Well, this happens all over Arizona. And there's another provision that I don't want to get into, but basically it was, a bunch of the federal land was supposed to be turned over to the states, back when, and they go, nah, we're not doing that. We'll pay you to make sure you pass this law, you get some water or something. It's money. Okay? It's never about freedom. It's never about me. It's never what the proper role of government is. It's never their justification for their existence. It's about we are freaking a herd of cattle and how much livestock can they get in milk. And I'm going, well, that's like not what you guys promised, you lying sacks of snot. So I'm like, nope, I want to go through this. One, I definitely own myself, and inside my flesh, my skin, that's mine. Oh, but we got a reason why we get to have notions and potions from the crown to stick in you and your kids. I go, no. So we're heavy on that. Then I'm going, okay, well, I just want to be left me aloneism. I can go out in the middle of nothing, and technology has brought up to where I can power myself. I can have power. Oh, my goodness, I have an electric car. I need to, go on the grid of, the oil company to bite me. I got, I can feed myself. We have aquaponics that we've experimented for years here. I got 60 chickens back there and 2 acres. And I go, you know what? That's more land than I need to even feed myself. We have the ability to build our own structures with the geodesics. I'm going, I don't need you. You don't need, I get the hell, what the, oh, but you don't really own your land. Really? Well, Ron Gibson says I do. Now what? Let's go through it. Because to me, it's an education process. Because what you're realizing and what I knew, because I'm like one of these people, is going, yes, I got an interest in this. And for a decade, hell, for 20 years I've been hearing about this. I heard about it my first time, God, like in early 90s from a ex-state legislator here in Arizona that did it up in the Payson area and was telling me all about it. Then I got a bunch of liberty-oriented, oh, you got to bring the patent for it, but they don't know where to go. There's no information. You go online, you can't find it. What's the problem? Where did it start? How did they do it? You want to be able to explain it so you understand, because I know what they're going to do. They're going to bamboozle you into whatever, and you did it wrong. So I go, all right, we'll do it again. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. A bunch of us will do it, and now we know, and you guys are the bad guys. You are the enemy. You are the enemies of freedom. And I'm going, we're going to take back our heritage, the mindset of what this country was promised. Now, I don't give a crap about America Inc. You know, America and the flag of I don't give a crap. I am burn the symbol, save the meaning. Light that flag. I don't care. That is not my point. My thing is that the promise that they made on this country, on this Constitution, on this Declaration, the Bill of Rights, they made a promise, and they said, if you abide by, the law and you don't violate someone else's and you're good, well, then, our role as a government is to protect your individual, and we're done. You never see us again, we're all good. Then, because they got the prosperity of a free people made them so freaking rich to even get a little bit of tax money, and we hardly even know it, and it's just a little, and it's temporary and voluntary, and we'll do it a little bit, and later we'll take it down after the war, and we won't liars. And they took all of this resource and then they built it on another level and another level. And then they want to do regional government. They tried to do that in the mid-90s here in Arizona, and they're doing it now. It's called MAG, Maricopa Association of Governments, and they got another level of legislative, we take your crap at another level, and all our buddies get jobs, and it goes and goes and goes until all of a sudden a big giant freaking communist, if it doesn't work, and it falls and crashes down. But there is, and I go, where would we, our letter that we're doing now on pirateswithoutborders.com, the very letter is that everywhere, everything above the sea level, it belongs to the crown. They'll say it's ours now. If it was if you had a big volcano out in the Pacific and had more land, some government agents go put a flag on it and say it's theirs now. And I'm going, whoa. Where the hell can I go? Bottom of the ocean? No, they'll go find you. Can I go to space? Oh, we got a space force. We're going to take care of that. Where in the hell can I go? And I would go there if there was a place, but there's not, and my grandchildren are here. So I'm going, all right, do I got my last stand? Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Well, what I want to do is I want to do what you've done and make it very clear that they're liars, that they're thieves, that it's the same they, them, those that we've been up against for freaking ever. And they had to go after our ability to live peacefully on our own land and be able to ignore them. And the one thing bad guys hate more than anything else is you being able to ignore them. And they go, nope, you can't ignore me now because you owe me and I got some and you got to get and give me. And then you have all these farmers. They go, hey, we just live on a farm and hang and we'll grow our own feed for our own cattle. And they go, no, you're violating interstate commerce, of which we passed a law and you're not allowed, and even on your own, and you can't. And you go, what? Where did all this come from? And I give you case after case I'm sure you're more familiar with. But the point is that the philosophy of don't sit there and tell me land of the free and the home of the brave when we're living under these conditions, that the whole freaking point of this experiment was you get to be the king and the sovereign of your own land. That was the point. And if they took that away, who did it, when, how, you sons of bitches, and I'm going to take it back. I want it back. Freedom, government doesn't work. I want my money back. Boom. So you on board, Ron? You with me?
It just shows you about how out of sync the things are in our country, and it has to start with your land.
I believe you. I've come to that conclusion, and I'm thinking that it has been. Answer me this question: all of this, when they went through the warranty deed and doing "you're not in the land" thing, was that intentional to take away what America was about and the middle class of America?
Absolutely.
Yep.
It was a very strategically and well-planned method of divesting the American people for the elite. See, this Agenda 21 or 2020 or 2030, all of that garbage started way back in the early 40s. It isn't something that's brand new. So I wanted to mention a little bit of a sidebar going back to the patent.
Please.
A patent property cannot be foreclosed on. The courts have a device in the court's authority and jurisdiction to issue a court decree called a constructive trust judgment. That constructive trust judgment, if you're in foreclosure and you present a patent, remember what I read of Title 43, Section 57 and 83 a while ago about bringing a certified copy into court?
Yeah, the judge, show me your copy and you're good.
Right, right. Well, that applies as well to your property that is being foreclosed on. They cannot foreclose on a patented property. They cannot impair that obligation of contract. But what the courts have done is devise a method called a constructive trust judgment to protect, quote, the banks. And this can be countered by a motion for quiet title, but that's a whole different subject right now.
Well, this is the one question that I have on this. If I have a patented property of its mine, and I go, can I take out a loan from a bank on that, or would they? They go, I ain't giving, I ain't touching that.
No, because they can't lien it. You can't lien a patented property either.
Okay, so it would be like a personal loan or something.
That is correct.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
they would. So you can't collateralize it, but they would. That doesn't mean they won't give you because you got good credit rating or something, or they just they just give you money. But you can't use the land as collateral.
That is correct.
Okay, all right.
And that was another reason why they wanted to get people embroiled in eyeball of debt.
Yeah, they need you paying interest.
So that you can pay interest and pay penalties and pay a loan that you never got. Pay back a loan that you never got. But in there...
Yeah, because they just printed money and said in the debt of... Yeah. Oh, God.
So, but this constructive trust judgment is predicated on what you can pay. The court cannot dictate what you will pay. You're not obligated to pay the original payment, because if you did, you wouldn't be in foreclosure to start with. But the courts can have you report either to pay in and through the court or to give the court each month an accounting of what you pay toward your so-called mortgage. But if that comes to be, I would just sue the bank for a constructive trust judgment. Where's your title? On any foreclosure, any sheriff's sale, any tax sale that is conducted is an unlawful act because they have no title. The only title is a patent title. There is no other title. There's no other title that can be created and have any validity to it.
One of my close friends lived in his home 9.5 years, not making a payment, challenging these issues in U.S. District Court here, and or was it state court? I can't remember. But he's going, no, you guys, blah 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 blah, because he did a bunch of funky stuff, and he's just challenging, where's the deed? Where's the title? Where's the, and they go, damn it, I hate when they do that. Well, it went to the Ninth Circuit. Adjudicated this law that says if you separated the mortgage from the deed or something, then it's invalid and whatever. So it finally goes up and they go, yeah, but we changed our mind. It doesn't matter, So I'm not counting on these guys to follow the law, but on the patent thing, you're saying, man, they don't even have, you can't even, once you show them that, you're done. It's over.
Well, let me share another thing. In my book on page 92, I think it is, somewhere in that vicinity, I address the issue or the subject 91 of the equity courts. Equity courts cannot be applied to a land patent. Any issue in court has to be an Article 3 court and not an equity court.
Okay, define the difference. Explain. Give me a history lesson here. What?
An equity court gives the judge total discretion about how to rule. And I've never liked, the Constitution makes provision, but they've taken it and abused the hell out of it. An equity court predominantly has to do with property. And when you have a property issue, then the judge is no longer bound by the law, whatever. He will do what he thinks is fair for whomever he thinks is fair. And that's why I don't like what they've done. Equity courts, to go back in their creation by virtue of Constitution allows it, was for a case that had extraordinary circumstances, very extenuating circumstances where The law can be pretty harsh, but sometimes there are other elements that needed to come in to address adequately the particular case at hand. Well, when they did the equity courts, the judges very quickly learned that I'm not bound by law. I can make any decision that I want to make. And that's what they've been doing. But in an equity court, as they're trying to give credence to, is the fact that it will be done most likely in an equity court. The problem with that, no state court can intervene into a land patent. The states, remember I shared with you this morning and a little while ago, the states relinquish all rights, title, and interest in their Admissions Act. So the state cannot convene a court system that has jurisdiction to hear a patent case. They relinquish that.
To be a state.
To become a state,
right.
Yes. And so here we have court cases that are not lawful cases. I put them in here to show you what and how the courts have done what they've done. But that land patent is a tremendous, powerful document if it's handled properly and correctly.
Okay. I am for everything comes down to general public opinion. As I go through this and we start, kind of bringing in and emphasizing, I need reference material. I need something for them to have. I need your book available online. Feel me?
Well, you need to come to my land patent thing, because reading the book is one thing. It has a tremendous amount, but I add a great deal to it.
Well,
what, when, where, and how.
No, I understand, but the book is the marketing for the seminars. And
yes.
I'm talking about, I'm going to be traveling the country, going to the majority of states for a year and a half. I need to have this ability to be able to share this, because I know that it's not going to be just me going out and doing it. It's going to be a general public opinion of people. Will they do it? Do they even have land? Not the freaking point. It's when you know that for the government to be legitimate, they need to defend individual rights as defined by case law, and I don't give a crap about that, but by the Constitution, by what the agreement was, and how they hijacked it, those SOBs. So I'm going, look, I just need people to know. I just want them to know. And we go through the and then what they do, they get, Ernie, you got it. Oh, right on. Well, they didn't. Okay, why? Well, because of this. I don't even care. I just want. I'm going down fight, man. Woohoo! But do I gotta break out a firearm? Do I gotta be, you don't need to do that right away. I'm just like, no, let's go through understand what they did, who did it, how they did it, and just you have the general public opinion. Everybody goes, yeah, they're pretty jacked up. We need to go away from this agenda 483 of whatever it is to take my land and get back to what the protections were to the individual, because this is not going well, and it's obvious to everyone. How did it go off the rails? What happened? When did it happen? It was losing actual deed to our land, because that is how they control you.
That's correct.
All right, I'm in. Let's do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get on. So what do you want to do about the book thing? We don't got to do it right now, but I'd like to get it done, and certainly with Davi here, because he has the ability to do it. The best thing would be if you talk to your son about how, if he's the IT guy, say that we have the ability to get this on Amazon. If you got electronic format, it could be done within a day.
Yeah, I have it in electronic format.
Okay. Now, if you want, you can just send it to us. If you want to talk to somebody, whatever, or create an account on Amazon, to do it. Give us the password. We'll do it all for you and everything, and then give it back to you, and you can change the password, and you're done.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to Sean there tomorrow. That's my son. And I'll get back with you.
All right. Let me know. And then we don't have to put pressure on you right now. But I'm like, oh. I tell you what's going to happen. I go to Kingman. I'm going, hey, we can get his book online today. We browbeat him and slap him around and make him do it. And they'll go, yeah, make them do it, or I'm going to go copy this one. Because that's what they've been doing, right?
Yep.
So I'm going, well, let's not do that anymore. Let's give them a quality copy, and you get the money. All right.
Well, like I say, I've been through this deal with a guy that bought a number of books, and come to find out he was just duplicating in them and then selling them on his own. So I didn't find out about it till a guy called and wanted clarification or something, and he said, well, I have your book. And I asked him, I said, where'd you get the book? Oh, so-and-so sold it to me. Oh, really?
Well, were you upset or flattered or what?
No, you're damn right I was upset. That's money out of my pocket. I mean, it's what I do for the majority of my income.
Well, I'm telling you, you're going to get a majority, a whole lot more income. You make this available, and hell, it'd be cheaper for them just to buy your book in e-form or the other than getting worrying about, I don't got it, and where is it anyway? So, I mean, this is, I blame you.
I say, okay.
Seriously, it's not for lack of effort. I've been looking for this. How did I come across? I have no idea. As a listener in a guy named Sean, that his son Cody is going to school here at Arizona State University. Freedom-oriented freshman kid got it going on, and they went through and bought their own condo property, did it his special way of whatever the heck, because he's online with a bunch of different kind of groups like this, so he knows that he put this out, me screaming about this, and however he came across you want to know, here it is, Ernie, and he's got a thing, the seminar in Kingman March 1st, and I'm going, get that guy on the show, and that's what Donna called you, yesterday or whatever, and let's do it for exactly this reason. I knew that I was going to eventually find out the origination story for this, and I talked to a bunch of different research people and groups and organizations and study groups and freedom-oriented everybody, everything, and they didn't know.
Well, I spent 48 years at this. I studied. Oh, another thing that I want to mention, if I may, and that is the issue that under homes, there are 11 different types of patents, and we'll get into that at the seminar. But there
Oh
are
my
11
God, there's 11 now? Shit.
Yeah.
Yay.
11 different types of patents, and the most prevalent is what they call a homestead patent. The Homestead Act was paid in 1862. And the other one that has a great bearing on water is the Mining Act in 1866. But the Homestead Act, any water that comes down from the heaven or is naturally on your patented land within its boundaries, or that you comes up either an artesian or, a well that you drill, belongs to you. A lot of the states have tried to claim ownership of the water, and I can tell you that patents don't have to share that water with anybody. That's owned by virtue of the patent. It's an agricultural patent. The Homestead Act was for the purpose of people having their home and to be able to grow crops to feed a nation. Okay? To feed a nation. Now, you cannot feed a nation for a farmer or by a farmer without him having access to water. And so I hear all of this garbage about the state wants to control the water, the state claims the water,
Yeah.
and I can show you in law over and over and over and over and over that the states have no claim to that water by virtue of the land patent.
Oh, no, man, I've been on this case, too, because they go, nope, you don't owe the water. It gets drained. You're not allowed. And the only thing, like Colorado comes up and said, all right, we're going to let you have some roof water, but you can't have more than 2 barrelfuls of which is 110 gallons of suck it. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. The Lord done decided to rain some water down on my land, and it's not mine? Water? Seriously? Rain? These are just stupid things, and they're so stupid that I like that they're so stupid. So stupid is easy to point out how stupid is, as stupid does. So I'm going, they're being stupid. I don't know. Are they stupid?
Well, and they are, but the very fact that people swallow that. See, we've lost our ability in this country to think for ourselves. And I even hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Well, it's by intent. I mean, it's
well, sure it is. But my point of this, Ernest, is simply this: that people are going to have to step out of the box, to get up, look up, and move out of this trap this box that they're in. Because if they don't, we're going to lose the precious things that we value in this country.
I am excited by they've gotten bad enough that it's gotten obvious enough that things are getting, restrictive enough that I think a lot of people they didn't count on is going to be easy to convince. Certainly, this next time the economy goes, which it is, and when it does, you're going to go, nah, we're done. Well, they're going to want to change. That's why they want to have a constitutional convention all the time, is they want to change these foundational very things like this. They have to in order to maintain their global we rule you crap. And the United States Constitution and the heritage and the ability of private land ownership is the biggest threat to their ability to control us as a people. And I'm going, it's so obvious to me. And I'm going, but where did it start? I guarantee this was not the beginning of this guy. That was not the promise. Somewhere, some way, somehow, sometime, and it's ours now, and we changed the form of life sucks. And I'm going, wow. And you've helped us understand what that's happened, what the remedy is. Thank you very much. I need to get this information out, and I need it online. I need people to be able to purchase the book. I need them to be able to get the audio version. I need them to be able to, do it as an ebook under their Kindle, of a tablet, of whatever. We can help you do that. But I need your permission, and however you want to do it, talk to your son, the friends, and whatever the kind of, I'm like, what? Because a lot of times people like you that know this in the Patriot community are older than me. I'm 58, and I know way more about computers than I ever wanted to, just out of poverty and necessity, and I know a guy. But the thing is that I know that a lot of this information that you have is not getting out fast enough. It's not widely available, but you see from your own experience over the last few months, years, or whatever, people be a wanting it. And if it was at the tip of their fingers and they pushed the truth button on the internet, I want to go find before it's gone. Now, fortunately, we have methods and mechanisms that we have expanded using the internet and different technologies to have it up available electronically that can never, ever be taken down. It can't be censored. It can't be eliminated. This is a big thing that we've been working on for years because we knew when you have things exactly like this, they definitely want it to go away.
That's probably an important thing.
Well, and that's true.
I'm sorry, Davi, what?
Well, that's probably an important thing to mention about Amazon is that Amazon is not an uncensorable environment. So maybe you can, it might make sense financially speaking to use them as a service, etc. But they're not what is it? They're a publisher, not a platform.
Yeah, no, see, my point is that they're easy and great for wonderful for having a book. And if you're lucky, they'll ban it. Get all kinds of attention then. But, but the electronic format of it, we take that file and we put it up and anybody and everybody can get it and we're done. I'll put it on my server. Boom.
Well, I'm not sure that I'm clear on if you have the electronic form and you put that up, then there's no incentive for anybody to buy the book.
It's fast and it's cheap, and they have different formats. I don't know, are they available that you can save them when they come down? Can you?
I don't know. I don't do ebooks. I'm a old school.
Yeah, that's something we
guy,
can check
so
on. But yeah, no, I went through this with, a bunch of people. A good example, probably biggest example was America from Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo. So I knew Aaron, and he was like, and I was copying the crowd. I probably did 150,000 copies of his movie that we did. We have the 11 stack DVD duplicators that we can just make copies, and we make compilations of different movies, like Freedom stuff and Ron Paul stuff and 9/11 stuff and whatever stuff. And we use it, and he's like, Ernie, you're Chicago. Yep, sue me. Now what are you gonna do about it? And all of a sudden, the volume of sales and attention just exploded, and it was because we had so many of these DVDs out there. Then he comes on my show and he goes, okay, well, don't copy the director's version. At least get him some director commentary. They got to pay for that one. But what happened, he made more money. So you're selling 1 or 2 a day, and I'm going, you're going to be doing a whole bunch. You go, yeah, but then they'll copy it, and they're good. That's marketing that you didn't have to pay for. You're not talking to an intellectual property supporting guy. That's not me. I'm like, hell no. I'm for getting the information out. But the practical application of this is it will bring an enormous amount more of attention, and people will support. They'll have you come and speak. It's going to be a lot better than whatever you're doing now. I guarantee that. So that's my opinion. So so you can find out. We could do some more research on that, on how these files work, because I can't imagine. I don't know. I mean, I guess they can copy and paste, or I have no idea because I haven't done that. I don't care. But this is, and you can make it. I'm telling you, man. I'm thinking there's a whole bunch more to be made there, but I don't even think that's the main. For me, it's not the main issue. Is having access to this information, and you're going to be in demand. I guarantee it. The more that this is available, that's my opinion, and I'd love to prove it and go. Or you go, nope, nobody calls me anymore. They just got it, and you suck, Ernie, because of whatever. And I go, yeah, well, everybody's free now, so you got that. So think about it, and I think my opinion and my experience has been you're wrong. When you make this information available, you get much wider distribution and much more support, a lot more demand, and people will be wanting to buy the book, to have a physical copy, just out of support. Or they just, want to have a bunch and they get them by the case. That happens all the time. So I'm just going, I've been through this before. I've been doing this 30 years, direct activism of this kind of information. Information will not be contained. They will copy your book anyway. And if they know about it from here and they go get and kind of, man, here you go. They're probably eBay. Okay, what's the name of your book?
What's the name of my book?
Yeah, what's the name?
What you need to know about land patents.
What you need to know about land patents. Pirate copy. I'll just put that in there. Here, let me put it up on the screen. Boom. They'll go, yep, right here, here, and here. Let's see. How to find land patent, defend rule America, can I avoid, I'll go, whatever. I bet I could probably find it. I made the effort enough here. But, my point is that this is, hell, I could do it. But I'd rather not because I love you now, so I wouldn't do that. But with your permission, we'll make it available to everybody. Please go talk about this. You have the ability for us. We want to help. And I am, even if you don't do the ebook, you just do the book online. We can do that. I don't care, But... And you can put whatever dollar amount, make $1 billion, I don't care, but make it available or give it volume discount. They're only $10 a piece when you buy 100 at a time. What do you care? You make, however many dollars on each one, you get them out there.
I want to read you something real quick. This is on in my book as well, on the thing on page 99. But at the top of the page, it says, no government can object to the intent and creation of a patent after such is issued, unless issued through fraud or clerical error or a mistake. That means that once that patent is issued, there is a law called Corpus Juris Secundum 73B that states nothing in that patent can be changed once it's issued. There are only two provisions to revoke a patent. One of them is for fraud, and the other one is for clerical error. But they only have 10 years to correct that if either one of those situations exists. Otherwise, it stands as what we call in law a prima facie evidence document. In other words, it says what it says and it means what it says. And so the reason that I bring that up, we were talking about the patent carrying through down to our time frame here when it was issued in 1850 or whatever the date may be on it. There's no government entity that can interfere or infringe upon that patent.
Because it's been over 10 years to make any error correction, and we way past that.
That is correct.
All right.
That's correct. And just like Suma said in that, and I use this a lot for people to help people if they're being harassed by a code enforcement personnel or the tax issue. I have them hold up their patent and say, show me where your name is listed on the patent, because it's the only title there is to land. And there's three very famous cases, Monterey versus Del Monte Dunes, Pizzalio versus Rhode Island, and Lucas versus South Carolina Coastal Commission. All three of those are United States Supreme Court cases. And in those cases, the Supreme Court said that the states, county, city, has no jurisdiction to implement any kind of a regulation upon that property unless they own it. So I want to see your chancellor checks, and I want to see your title that's superior to my land patent. And it's amazing what happens, because none of them have been able to counter that. I helped a lady in St. George, Utah here a year and a half ago, and she had kind of a bed and breakfast type thing, and nice setup. I mean, man, this gal just neater than a, good housekeeping cover. And they came and started harassing her, and so she came to me and asked, and I had helped her and her husband with the patent. So I wrote them a couple of letters, and that was the end of that. They didn't have a superior title.
So you could do this also once you get your land. You could build, the wood shop, manufacturing, the campground of They Can Suck It?
That is correct. You're king of your land. We better understand something in this country. You're either king of your land or you're a slave. Which is it?
Amen. Okay, I got we have a Declare Your Independence with the Ernest Hancock Telegram. It's a social media encrypted app of whatever. So there was a listener there, and he said, Ernie, talk to Shane at Liberty Under Attack Publications. Perhaps he can get the book published too. I don't know these particular people, but I remember there was a guy in Manhattan that was publishing Liberty books. And I think what he was doing, he was waiting until they were public domain, and then he just, republish stuff. But that's another thing. There are Liberty-oriented publishing houses that have access to printing, or know a guy in China or something that you can do this. What you're talking about, that book you could probably get for under $1 in bulk if you wanted to hold them yourself. But that's one of the benefits of doing something like Amazon, or some of these other services, is that you don't have to hold inventory or come up with any money up front. So, that's one option. So there's a lot of them. I want to get this published. I want to have copies. How do you get yours published? Where do you get them done?
I did have a friend of mine that owns a print shop here in Medford, and it's called Mike's Printing, and he does both of my books for me. I'm in the process of writing a third book titled of that's going to be Statutes.
How many can he make? How fast? For how much?
I don't really know that answer. He can kick them right out, but I don't know that answer.
Okay, well, talk to him, and if he needs, if he's ready to, if it could be as easy as we just have a web page. Where am I going if I want to order? Let's do that right now. People, we want to, or you gave me the address. Is there a web page for me to go to push a button and do PayPal or credit card or whatever and order your book?
No, there's no web. page or
Wrong answer. So we need to fix that, man.
well, I'm just answering your question. No,
I
there's
know.
not.
I'm sorry. I'm just making fun. But this is that might be something. Talk to your son. Talk to the printer guy. See what you're willing to do. The reason we brought up the Amazon thing is I just wanted to make the point that with electronic file you could do it in a day, and you got books and you're done. Ordering done. I don't think anybody really cares. Maybe they'll get more traffic because it's Amazon, whatever. I don't care. But you can get a web page done fairly easily too. We have, guys that we do hosting of web pages. We have webmasters. I don't know what you're waiting on, but you don't need to wait anymore because I am motivated, have the capability and the willingness to help you.
Well, I'll do her.
All right, well, talk to your son and talk to your printer. Tell him, if we, open up a web page and we get promotion for, I would do a free banner ad I could put on Freedom's Phoenix. I go, all right, here, we put a banner ad up there. Go here to get it. Here's the answer to all the occupy my own land. We already got the artwork for it. We got, we're woohoo, let's go kick ass. To where? It doesn't go anywhere. You see my point? So that's what we need to work on. I'm trying to help you. Go ahead and talk about it. Don't forget about me and get back with me whenever you can. Hopefully before the middle of next week, because Davi is only here to work on art and doing a lot of stuff with us for another week or so. So if you can get back to me before then we have a lot more capability of helping you before we go on a bunch of other projects that we're working on.
Yeah, no, I'll get back with you before then. So.
All right. Boom. That's what we do. Ron Gibson, is there a web page or anything that you want people to go to, or they can find out anything, or this is it, the show that we did?
That's it.
No,
have them come to the seminar. They'll learn a lot.
Okay.
I haven't even got started.
I got people all over the world listening to this going, what the hell? I can't make it to Kingman. I'm in Germany or Alabama or something. Okay?
Okay.
Ron Gibson, thank you very much. I apologize for getting all animated and everything on this. I just want to emphasize for my audience and yours, because there's going to be people, they look you up or something, sooner or later, this show is going to come up, and they're going to go, damn, let's go, well, hell, and they'll forward that and share it with whoever. So it's been 2.5 hours or so that we've been going out on this, plus what we did today. I'm glad you did this and came on, and hopefully you are convinced that we're on the same mission here.
Well, and I want to thank you and your wife for allowing me to come on your program on the thing, because we're both after the same thing. I'm a logistics guy. I need to kind of know what the steps are from point A to point B. So if I seem a little hesitant, it's for that reason. But not that I'm opposed to what you're suggesting, because it would take a big load off of me as well.
Yeah, no, it'd be great that you just see money rolling in, from a big corp of kind of not your problem. They're taken care of. I mean, there's benefit to that. But your printer guy go, hey, man, I can do it for. You probably couldn't do it cheaper, but he might, just be a friend and love on. You guys share. I don't care. I just want it available to get out.
That's an option.
Do you have any idea, or the other gentleman?
Yeah, what?
There that what Amazon charges?
I don't know, $2-3. I mean, we buy bulk of our book that we paid nothing up front, and for our 48-page book is how much?
They cost us about $5 a book, and they're going to take about $5 a book when someone buys it from them directly. But they're selling it to us at cost because we're the publisher. But that obviously they're making money. It doesn't cost them $5 to print a book. It just happens to be that's the price break. If you order them from a Chinese printer, we've never done that before. Yeah, we've never done that before. The trouble with that is that the minimum is like 5,000 copies or something. You get them for $1. The other thing that occurred to me, and this is again something that I haven't done, but it's possible to go to Amazon and create a seller account instead of a publisher account, and then your friend can continue to publish the books and you'll just get orders from Amazon because you're going to create your own listing of the book that you have in stock, and that just makes you the fulfillment of the book. And so if that guy can give you a better price and you want to print it locally and keep helping your friend, then that's another way that you can sell on Amazon.
You can still have Amazon advertising. It's just that they're not the ones contracting to print it. It's coming from you. You get an order from Amazon to fill it.
Yeah.
I actually want to create a seller account for all my other merch because none of it is on Amazon, and so I'm going to find out how that works here pretty soon. I just haven't yet.
Yeah, so this is we're in. We don't got to do it tomorrow. I'd rather do it today. But I'm because I'm not a later guy. 5 minutes after I hang up, I'm gonna forget everything. We
got other distractions.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of other crap going on. You just had my attention today. Tomorrow's another day. I got 50 gazillion things like this. So this is we have the books and. They're nice. They're good quality. They look nice. Davi did a really good job on the artwork, and they're full color. Inside, outside, they're all over the place.
That's the other thing. We're paying for full color in that book.
So you probably wouldn't have that.
In fact, he wouldn't, because Survivor Max, that's my novel series, that one is only like $250 a book, and because it's not color on the inside.
And how many pages is yours?
Survivor Max 1 was like 120 pages. Survivor Max 3 is like 400 pages.
Oh, my God. How much is that one to buy?
It's still about $253.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Ron, I don't know. $250 a book? What are you thinking?
I don't know that I'd buy that.
Well, so there you go. So that's the thing, right? Is it's an avenue that you can put something up on Amazon without any investment. Because if you just upload the files and create the listing, then they're only going to take that $2, $3 when it sells. You're not putting anything up front. And then whatever you price it over $2 or $3, you keep. But if you want your own copies and you want a printer to give you a bulk deal, Amazon's not the place to do that. Because Amazon is like a novelty printer. They don't even give you a bulk discount. It's $4.50 a book whether we order 1 or order 100. So...
Well, it's just a quick, easy way, and there is something to be said for relationships. The fact that, I'm getting, email and text already going, hey, have them do this one and do that one, and we know a Liberty guy or whatever. Well, you already got a friend that's been doing it and helping you out from the beginning, and you may not want to cut them out. You're going, hey, it started to get popular, and all of a sudden you don't love me anymore.
Or you might want to negotiate with him and see if your friend is willing to do fulfillment. Like, it may be that you put up a listing somewhere for a book, and he's willing to print and send one-offs for you if he makes a little extra money on it.
Or he's willing to hold the inventory or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, talk about these things, Ron. There's so many options that we are aware of because we're just starting to get into this stuff, too. When did you first do Survivor Max? It was like 5 years ago or something?
Oh, yeah. It must have been 5 or 6 years ago.
So we are familiar and interested in this for exactly the same, is to expand freedom, to get this information out. And, part of the information that we're doing was to promote the concept of what you have. So we're like an example of what we've been talking about in this letter, and this page, and this book, and everything. Is Ron Gibson, where's the book? I don't know. I can't find it. So that's why we're wanting to help.
Yeah, and I appreciate that more than I can say. I really do.
I don't want you to say. I want you to go do and call me back.
Hey,
I want to do it, man.
Ernest, I have a question.
Sure.
How far are you from Tucson?
2.5 hours.
Okay.
I'm in Phoenix, northwest Phoenix. So Tucson, matter of fact, we're going to Tucson this Saturday.
Well, maybe I could give you my friend's number. I'll call him and have him give you a book. He bought a whole bunch of them from me, and I want to give you a book. That way you get an early start on what it is.
Hell yeah. I'll go down there. We'll divert and leave an extra 20 minutes early to stop by, say, yo, what's up? And after, we're going to a convention, a Libertarian Party state convention of whatever. I want to see some candidates speak and, do whatever. But the, for president and so on. So we're going down there Saturday early morning, coming back, Saturday evening sometime. But there's some time in there somewhere, somehow, that we can stop by, or one of my friends go by or something. I can get it. Let's do it. Send me the stuff. Done. Saturday.
I'll get a hold of my friend there. He bought a whole bunch of books from me here a couple months ago, and so I'll make sure that you get one, and it's free. So,
Well, I'll pay for the book. Just give me a free seminar.
well, no, and you do. Both you guys and your wives, if you want to come to the seminar, you can come at no cost.
Thank you. I may it'd probably be me. Maybe my wife will want to go. She goes, oh, let's sit around and talk about. But I go, I don't know. You never know. You know, that's there may be. Yeah, we're gonna. I'm telling you, Ron. Do you feel you're busy on this? I mean, you're getting called a lot, or or is it just now starting to pick up a little bit, or it's a pleasant distraction? Are you overwhelmed? Oh my God, where'd this come from? I mean, where are you now?
I'm just on the verge of being more than I can handle.
Oh no, it's more now. If you're on the edge now, you're done, man. You need help.
Well, and I do. I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, I like what you're proposing. Again, I just don't know what the logistics and the numbers are on.
Well,
the
it
thing.
does. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. And you're assuming we know. We gave you a rough idea. If it's black and white and you get a cover or something, it's probably like $250 a book if you did the Amazon thing.
Mm-hmm.
If for that size, we have friends that have gotten books for some ridiculous amount, 50 cents or something like that for 200-page, Freedom Adams thing. And but of course he like has a sea container full or whatever. But the so there's a lot. That small a book. I mean, you can get cheap and you can get it right now. When we did, once you send it in and we get and Amazon goes, okay, you got the margins right, you got the book right, it's the right size if you did it right, or you did it wrong and fix this. Once they approve it, it usually takes what, 24 hours?
It's 24. Every time you submit a PDF, it takes them about 24 hours to get back with either an approval or letting you know what the problem with the file is.
Okay, now once they say, yep, got it, you can order it then?
Instantly, yeah.
Instantly. So I'm saying if we would have got your book and put it up today, you could have ordered it by tomorrow and get it by the weekend. This is what I'm talking about.
The other thing you might want to consider, I've had a lot of success with like a chapter book, where I take the first chapter or two of the book, I print it on like a little pamphlet, like not more than like a brochure, and then I hand those out at events. And so it's like, here's chapter 1, here's a teaser of what it's about, and hopefully it's compelling enough and it contains a web address that a person just goes and gets it, or they come to me at the convention to buy it.
Okay.
There are so many ways. I got a big color Ricoh printer sitting here ready to rock and roll and doing kind of. Ron, I'm glad you're staying with me here. And we're talking about this stuff because I am a well-known activist, talk show host, and the freedom whatever, doing all the stuff that we do. And of all the things that I've done, of all the issues and all the court cases and all the campaigns I've run and all the lawsuits and all the whatever, it has come down to this. I know this is the issue. I have been looking for how in the hell did they get it now? And they had to do this first, then they mess up your brain. Then they screw with you. Then they, educate your kids into not being educated. Then they do, the banking of whatever, blah, 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 blah. But the first thing, they had to get you off your land and make it their land. I see that. That's what all this agenda UN BS is all about. And I'm going, where was the genesis of that? And I can go, and now that we know this, and I get this book, and I know guys, high-end guys, they're going to dovetail it into whatever the heck research they got on the bad guys, and I'm going to go, look, you need to read this book, and all of a sudden, boom, it gets added into there, and here we go. And it started back with they, them, those of Rockefeller's buddy Rothschild, socialist, whatever the hell, commie bastard friends of banking, what the hell, from 18, who gives a crap? And I know that's going to come out of this, because I guarantee that it was to take over America, that the Industrial Revolution was a challenge to all of the they, them, those monarchies of the collective of we rule Europe kind of crap, Queen or whoever the hell it was, that with that, they come in and they go, we're going to have to take them boys' land and put them in war and get them in debt and screw them like we did all these other countries. And I'm going, yep, if you want to do that and you want to go after America Inc. and her interest, whatever the hell that means, I'm like, America's interest? What do you mean America's interest? I thought the interest was freedom. I thought it was leave me aloneism. I thought it was protect me from all enemies, foreign and domestic. None of this other BS crap you guys come up with. Oh, when you took my land, you're the guys that I was supposed to be protected from.
One of the things, too, Ernest, that I wanted to mention before we part here is that there's a segment of the documentation that goes into this land patent thing. It's called a Certificate of Acceptance of the Declaration of Land Patent. That's a legal document, and I encourage people to let me do that, put that sandwich together if they decide they want to bring it forward. Now, I charge $750 to do that, but at least they will know that it's done correctly. Had a lady in California got stupid with that document and ended up, they put her in jail for 7 years.
Whoa!
Because she was trying to steal other people's land that she had no lawful claim to under her warranty deed and whatever. So I'm just saying I would encourage them to let me put this, I need certain documents from them, and we can get into that later.
No, heck, I go get the land and do it, but I want a discount. I want $749 just out of principle. Damn it.
Okay, $749.
Yeah, you $749 me, we're in, man. Let's do it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, this is it. Ron, well, we can talk all day. Thank you for coming back on and doing this, and I'm hoping to inspire you to, when you put down the phone, I'm going to put this up. It'll be up within 20 minutes, at least the audio version of it. And you share that with your son, your friends, and your printer and whatever. Don't forget about me. We are here ready to rock and roll and help. When we hit the road and traveling every week to another event. We have a lot of festivals. I would love to have that, because I've announced this months ago that the 2 issues for 2020 for me, I'm going to be a butthead about it, and I can do that very good, is going to be I own my body, I own my land. Vaccines, land patent thing. It's so, if I got the king saying, not only don't get to own the land, I got it, and by the way, give me money, you never really own anything, and I have the right and the power, and you're my freaking livestock, and I'm going to stick a needle of notions and potions in your flesh. Don't sit there and tell me we're land of the free, home of the brave. That is just so much BS right there. So those 2 issues, I'm going to be a butthead. I could be real good butthead. Going to get some. And I need your material and your ability and send it to you, because I don't want to do your seminar and comment. That's like work, I just want people to have access to information. Call you, go there. Okay?
All right. Be sure and send me those 3 cases that we were talking about.
I already
earlier.
did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Appreciate
if you don't
it.
get them, let me know. Check your email real quick right now. See if that stuff came in.
Okay. Hang on. Let me get out of here. Get out of there.
And the title subject should say open links.
Hang on just a second. Will be just a moment here. Click on that. Click on that. Click on that. And here we come. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. Now, what is it? The heading on it?
The subject should say open links. And it said it was sent at 2:10 my time, so it would be 1:10 your time or something like that. Are you able to get into your email?
Yeah, I'm in my. I don't see it.
Okay. Can you get to freedomsphoenix.com yet? Okay, type this in. I want to go letter by letter. I want to make sure you get it because I can put this up on the show for today, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Hang on. Okay.
Okay, begins at. Go to F as in Frank, R.
Whoa. What is it? Your voice is real low.
I'm going to spell out for you to put in your address on your browser to go to my webpage.
Okay, but give it to me slowly again.
F as in Frank.
Got it.
R.
R.
E.
E.
D.
B as in boy.
As in David.
Oh, D as in David.
O.
Got it.
M as in Mary.
Got it.
S as in Sam.
S as in Sam.
Yep. P as in party.
P as in party.
H.
Okay, H.
O.
O.
E.
E.
N as in Nancy.
N as in Nancy.
I.
I as in ice.
X.
X.com. Got it. FreedomsPhoenix.com.
Right. freedomsphoenix.com.
Got it.
Okay, did it go to it?
I haven't typed it in yet. I just wrote it down.
Ah! No, go ahead and do it because I want to make sure you got it.
All right, hang on a second. Don't let your girdle get out of slip here.
Yeah, too late. Okay, let me know when you hit it. And audience, if you're done, you can go. I'm gonna leave it on here just to have proof that he actually got to it. And but we're about done. But you can hang out with us and say yo, what's up?
Okay, it came up. Got it.
Woohoo! Okay, at the top right. Now that's an interesting site. It's our news site. At the top right of that page, you'll see where it says "Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock." Do you see that icon?
Yes.
Okay, click on that Minuteman guy there. Boom.
Okay.
Okay, now to go.
Privacy first, it says. It says Ron Gibson.
There you go. Ron Gibson, the second one. It says Ron Gibson Live Podcast. You see that one?
Yes, sir.
Click on it. Man, we're rocking and rolling and whatnot now.
Okay.
Okay, now on that, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page below the flyer. You'll see your flyer. It says Protect Your Right Land Pendant Seminar.
Yes.
Okay, below that, those are the 5, the SupremeJustia.com. Those are the 3 cases that Ammon sent me. And then you have Freedom's Phoenix and then Pirates Without Borders. You see them?
Yes.
Okay, the one that you can look at those later, right-click on Pirates Without Borders and do open link and new tab or something.
Now, where are you telling me to click on that one?
At the very bottom. It just, the one that says pirateswithoutborders.com. Just click on it. But if you right-click and then open in a new tab, it'll save that other tab, so you don't have to go back,
Well, down at the bottom, I don't see what you were asking me to look at.
Okay.
Under.
All right. Go
underneath-
to your land patent seminar flyer. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right below that has a double line, and it says
Yes.
reference whatever. If it pleases the crown, may I occupy my own land. Cases shared by Ammon with Ernest. You have 3 Supreme. Then it says freedomsphoenix.com, and below that it says Pirates Without Borders.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I was looking too far down.
Okay.
Good enough. I found it.
Okay.
Right click. Right click.
Yeah, right click on it, and then you'll have options, and it'll say, open link in new tab or something like that.
Yeah, it does. Stop
Okay.
when that's.
All right, do that.
I did.
Now, do you have the page pirateswithoutborders.com?
Well, it hasn't opened it up.
Okay. Now, what it is, at the top it says communication, energy, shelter, food, water, health, transportation, automation, education. Now, yours, of course, would be in the category of shelter. Now, what we have done is Pirates Without Borders, the whole point is that, look, man, whenever you want to decentralize down to the individual and I want to have my own land or I want to make my own energy or I want pirate communications that you can't surveil me and blah, blah, you're a pirate. You're outside their control. So we just embraced it and said, yeah, we're pirates, bite me, okay? Now, at the top left, you'll see it says Precariat. Take the virtual tour, and you'll see the animation of our pirate spaceship. We're just having fun with this.
Yeah, I see that.
Now, right below the big ship there, below him, it says, get the letters of Mark on Amazon and read the letters of Mark online. Do you see that? Right below the spaceship.
Yes, I do.
Okay, click on, you can go see the Amazon book there and what it looks like and how that works. But you can click on read the letters of Mark online. Just click on that.
Okay.
All these letters, you go to letters of Mark there, and it has the 9th letter, the 1st letter, the 2nd letter. You start with the 1st letter of Captain Mark. If you read they're just, I don't know, anywhere from 200 to 900 words. They're not that long. It's just a declaration of this is what human beings want, need, and the crown sucks, and you're a lying sack of snot. Okay? So that's all this is. We have the letters of reprisals, the female character, and she talks about being anti-war or pro-defense and Second Amendment and how our justice system might work and, whatever else, okay? Then Dr. Idris Barber, he's like the barber on the ship, like the Wild West. You had the barber in town on the Lone Prairie. He was your dentist and doctor. So we call him Dr. Idris Barber. Idris is Arabic for scribe. So he's kind of writes, from the crew's perspective or something. Then we have Captain Kidd. What about the children? He's a young person that escaped the crown, yada, yada, yada. So all of these letters and so on is over a few years we have done in order to make it clear what our philosophy is. Now, when you go to get the letters of Mark on Amazon, if you click on that window, it opens up into Amazon. This is how your book would look, or how it would be displayed or sold or whatever cover you have on it.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
I'm looking on here, Davi. It has 2 used from $25.35 and 4 new from $25.41. You can buy it for $25, but somebody's selling them used for more.
So that's a
I'll
seller
bet you, Chuck,
account.
I think we had I bet you this our signatures or something. What is that?
It might be that there's signed copies. We've given those out. But what that means is that somebody is using Amazon as a secondary used bookseller as opposed to a publisher. So that's something.
So people are already selling our book?
Yeah, somebody bought it, read it, and is ready to sell it again.
Well, that's awesome. All right.
Maybe they read it. Hopefully they read it.
Do I get any of that money?
No. Because that's just they're just used booksellers.
Yeah, but they're advertising on my free. Of course, they cost more than what we're selling it for, so fine, I don't care. But I bet you it probably... Because when we go around, the same thing you would do, Ron, is you go around with selling the... you have the books with you and you sign them or something. So there may be, somebody, they want to sell it and it's worth more, because you signed it. I mean, Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. People already reselling our books, and then for more than what I'm selling them, well, if they can do it, whatever. The so this is the technology when you go in, like say go up to the top of the page on the left there where it says energy. It has the little energy icon. Do you see that?
Yes.
Go ahead and click on that. Those are links, and what that does is that opens up, and all thing. Oh, there's a duplication on one. It's all things that have technology to free the individual from energy needs. This is like, solar and battery and this and that and wind and whatever and 0 point of, I don't give a crap. And the point that we are doing is we put this information of how do you decentralize down to the individual the power of private communication, the power of building your own shelter, the power of your own home remedies, the power of, food and water. This is what this site is about.
I see.
So,
I can't get that energy one to open up. All I see is a hand. The icon is a hand.
Well, just left click it.
I did.
Okay, now scroll down. It just looks the same. It should say below the letters of market, it'll say energy. And now you see all these articles about energy.
No, it won't open it up.
Click. Well,
I'm on the energy one that you're talking about, because above that's communication, under that shelter, health, nutrition, transportation,
no, it's
automation.
okay, it's horizontal at the top. It goes from the left, communication, then it says energy on the right of that, right?
No, these are stacked on top of each other.
Oh, no, you're looking at the book. Go back to the page. Go to the other tab. That's pirateswithoutborders.com. Yeah, that's just decoration on the front of the book. That didn't do anything.
Okay. Alrighty.
So any of these, like communication or shelter, like if I was to click on shelter, it'd be, that'd probably be more applicable for what you're doing. Yeah, click on shelter up there. What's the first thing? Bricks alive. Scientists create living concrete that repairs itself. Okay, that's cool. Shipping container building projects. High efficiency solar cell material. 29+% efficiency. Oh my God, that's like 3 times what it used to be. Building a shipping container home. New spray gel could bring an end to frostbite and be able to, I don't know why it's in shelter, but the dorm house, yada, 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 yada. You just see a bunch of stuff about building materials or building or something. How to heat your home with solar heating. How we're going to live on Mars. Whatever, okay? So this is, now, just for grins and giggles, I'm going to leave you with this. Because when we do this, people are just supportive. If you have a web page and you're able to give this information out, little snippets like Davi was talking about, and you print out a chapter that you kind of do as a promo, or you have, people can comment or communicate with you. Like, I'm not a big social media or Facebook fan or any of that crap, but you could do it on your own site and communicate with people. Now, what happens is, people want to do stuff. So we finally got to the point to where, because we couldn't get a patent on our land, it became obvious that we needed to have a pirate ship. That represented freedom, that we could just go away. And we were like, yeah, we could do. So underneath communication and energy, click on that Precariat, take the virtual tour. Just click on that. And that's a little video. Let's let it load up a little bit and watch that. It's only a minute and a half or something. Now, this is an airship. It is, like a blimp or a dirigible. But, that's the core of it. But it's also got a bunch of other stuff you can do, whatever. Just watch it. Did it open for you?
No, I haven't got it open.
But did you click it?
Yep.
Okay. It'll come up.
Alrighty. Anything else?
That's it. You watch that and you kind of get the idea. This is how far we're willing to go. This is what we're thinking. But the reason the ship came as a necessity for us to even talk about this, that we could leave, is because we couldn't get our own land free and clear of the crown. That's why your thing is so important. Because if we don't have a place for me to live here in Arizona near my grandchildren, where else am I going to go? How free am I going to be?
There you go.
All right, you're up to speed. We're gonna help you if you're gonna let us. So stay in touch with me, will you, Ron?
I will do that. Thank you kindly, gentlemen. Enjoyed it.
It was our pleasure. Congratulations. I'm glad that all your hard work built up to now you got an entire community out here going, man, been waiting on you now. Here we go.
All righty.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Have a good
You
one.
bet, guys. God
Bye-bye.
bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, how awesome was that?
That was pretty cool. It's sort of like, I always get this feeling in any of these sort of legislative solutions or filing the right paper solutions that they don't care. Like, that might technically be historically true, but if they want your land, they're just going to take your land. So
It always comes down, as it always does, to general public opinion.
yeah,
That's why you need to, it's a campaign. You do all this stuff and you get people the information and everything, and then when the guy shows up, it's just like in any Western, it's going to be like open range where you have the local sheriff and the what do they call him, not the commandant, the
uncommon
constable.
No,
the constable. You have the constable and the guy, and they come in, they explain it to you. Oh, okay, so it's just force and fraud. Okay, I just want you to say it. Because none of these laws have any impact unless there's a penalty. And they're always you shall and must, and if you don't, and it's jail and fine, we're going to kick your ass. They always do that. Mm-hmm. But if the government says, and the government and department shall and may and must and all this other stuff, they go, yeah? And what happens when we don't? Nothing. Because there's no penalty. So there has to be a penalty in there. So that's where, a lot of these have, well, if they do. And I like the patent thing where it says, you're not even allowed to even enter it. And we're going to space, and the government's not invited. But I would like to live on Earth. I vote Earth. That's good.
For now.
For now, But anyway, so that's why we're having fun. Well, I'm glad that he came on. That was really, Ron spent a lot of time with us and, allowed us to express ourselves and that we want to help. Now he has a show that he can take and go, with his family and friends and suppliers whatever and say, look, man, these guys, and then you start checking on us and who we are and what we do, and they go, yeah, I think we should do that.
So that's why they support this book.
All right. Peace, guys.